mediocre man rises from the ground and you win. You just shoot through the floor and go straight to the center of the earth. What is a Pepsi Max? You just gotta turn around and put that on. Lock it up. Don't let him know you're normal. Come on, Wilbur. Tyler Catastrophe is back, and it's going to be a long one. Not because there's that many more updates. Honestly, it's because we just watched like a really long video and stream, and it was like a hangout. Now, I'm coming to you to let you know I lose my mind in this video because it's basically like a day off for me, okay? Nabber, one of our favorite coworkers, has done the brunt of the work, and I get to sit back and relax here and watch it. So listen, it's my day off. Nabber is hilarious. And I'm sorry, I do think the necklaces are ugly. So just, hey, if you need to clean your room, reorganize some stuff, get something done, walk somewhere, go on a long drive, whatever the case may be, this is your video. Throw it on and get something done today. Have a little fun. Dude, Nabber is literally like a true co-worker to me, like in the YouTube world, that like I walk up to his desk, I'm like, hey man, can we watch your video? He's like, yeah, sure. I've only ever watched on YouTube. It feels illegal to be on Twitch. It's not illegal, but it's very scary because I could just jump through your screen. Sorry, that was so millennial mom of me, especially with the hair. Ah!
Long before cringy TikTok edits, fan cams being spammed in Twitter reply sections, people were fainting at concerts at the heels of their favourite bands such as the Beatles, Queen, just in general, your favourite artists and celebrities for years outside of the internet and the 2000s have had flocks of fans, and some could be considered stans. There have always been individuals who obsess and dedicate themselves to a famous person, and for the vast majority of people, this type of hyperfixation or hyperfandom is usually relatively harmless and just a fun way for a community of, in a lot of cases, younger fans to celebrate.
What I find very interesting about like stan and internet culture, and even some of you guys that watch me, what people are doing online nowadays, I actually really like. They're finding their individuality through artistic landscapes that content creators create, right? So they get more and more attached to something because this thing that they've selected, they feel connected with it. It ends up defining a moment or era of their life. And then the person just is kind of like fused with it. It's like their favorite creator or something is like an extension of them. And that's also why when we have those fallen fans that turn on a creator that they used to be really close to, it's because the creator has done something that makes the fan feel like they are no longer artistically connected. And they have to cut off the creator to cut off that part of themselves to define themselves against whatever it was that the creator did. It's very attached.
The celebrities or content creators that they love and appreciate. But if there's one story that I've learned on the internet over the years, it's that sometimes in these categories of people, stans, fans, whatever you want to call them, people that hyperfixate on content creators and famous people, not necessarily saying that I'm famous, but if there's something I've noticed over the years, it's sometimes a few specific individuals take it a little bit too far. You can think of any fandom, any content creator, any celebrity. Again, I'm not saying that I'm a celebrity, but there are celebrities out there, and you will find instances of someone in a fan base taking it too far and going, well, honestly, just quite crazy. And over the 10 years of being a content creator, I have witnessed this a countless amount of times. Content creators come and go, and with that come rabid fan bases.
He's setting up here. He's setting up. He's about to give us everything.
Individuals that do things that, honestly, a human being should not do, and they should probably reevaluate.
What is a Luna? Is that a K-pop star? Oh, it's a whole group. Oh, I thought it was just like one person in the group. Okay. Sorry, I'm like an old K-pop stan. Also, I just found out that one of the K-pop guys that I used to really like was apparently problematically. He was a bad guy. I didn't realize that. You guys know who G-Dragon is? Or like Tae Yang from Big Bang? I used to love them when I was in high school, and I saw them at Coachella, and I was really excited, and then people were like, G-Dragon is the worst. I was like, really? That's my child. That G-Dragon was like a defining thing for me when I was younger. I remember being at my grandparents' house and seeing a Big Bang video. But I did get to see them live, which was really cool. It was fun. Girl Not Sungry. Dude, Sungry? Who is it? Dude, it's Tay Yang. Thank you very much.
Individuals that do, and with that come rabid fan bases, who in those fan bases you will find individuals that do things that honestly a human being should not do, and they should probably reevaluate their life choices. The concept of being parasocial or a parasocial relationship for years now has been a debate which particularly peaked between the early 2020s when large Minecraft audiences got big and a lot of people started to have conversations about certain people.
Talking about parasocial relationships is so interesting because I think there needs to be a division soon. For some reason, we call everybody online that's a fan of somebody parasocial. By quote definition, every single person in the comments or in the chat would be parasocial with me. I don't think that that's exactly true. I actually think parasocial is an entirely different thing where a person really thinks that there's a one-to-one relationship that's a little bit different. But like I said before, there's also a group of people that define their identity and their culture off of content creators. Some people even identify, they find their identity and their own like culture that they feel centered in by being the opposite of certain people's landscape or design. So anyways, I think there's parasocial, and then I think there's also just the people that are exploring themselves by looking at different media and personalities. Anyways, that's just my thought.
In certain audiences. And it seems that a remnant of that forgotten time period has somehow managed to appear out of nowhere, because today we're going to be speaking about a specific person who recently has been going viral for all of the wrong reasons that I mentioned in the introduction of this video. Imagine a fan or a stan at the worst possible extent. Imagine somebody who really does not know when to quit. Somebody who will dedicate their entire life to a content creator that they have never met, to the point of where they are apparently considering moving across continents just to meet this person. And there are a lot of stories, a lot of allegations, a lot of things being said about this person. So without further ado, meet Tyler Catastrophe. Now, at first glance, you may mistake this individual as just yet again another...
I have to say this. The necklace is ugly. The necklace is ugly. Like, at what point, do you tell, like, if people that are in Tyler's life, like, at what point do you tell people in your life, this doesn't look good? That's a good hop. You know what I mean? Like...
Now, at first glance, you may mistake this individual as just yet again another dedicated fan running a dedicated fan page. But as you keep on scrolling through this person's social media, you will begin to realize the sheer volume and intensity of their content, and that this person is a little bit unhinged in their dedication to a particular individual. And you may be wondering, well, who is this person obsessing over? Who is this person choosing to dedicate their life to? Well, it's this guy. Yes, meets Wilbur.
I've been calling this out for a minute. When are people gonna stop, like, just being hella horny online and acting like they're not? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there are some, like, lustful statements or things from homeboy Tyler in the next couple of things. But, like, the reality is, like, I'm not attracted to Wilbur. I'm sure a lot of you guys are not particularly attracted to Wilbur Soot. But to a lot of people, this is a very attractive person. To a lot of people, okay? And I get very tired of us not being able to acknowledge how crazy lust will drive some people. And this is a little bit more with like women, because I talked about this with the Lori Vallow case. It's like, as women, we're taught to be like ashamed of sex, or we're not supposed to talk about sex, or we're not supposed to do things. So like sometimes they'll like women will like hide like how they're feeling, and they'll bury the lust in something else and act like it's something different. So that's a little bit different than this situation, but I just see it as a really common problem where people don't realize they're going crazy because they think somebody's hot.
So yes, who actually is Wilbur Soot? Well, Wilbur at one point was honestly an absolutely beloved content. Is Wilbur Soot? Well, Wilbur at one point...
I don't know why, but this alone gave me a jump scare. I'm like, no! 2021! Math one! We're back! The Dream SMP, they're popular. He's taking his mask off.
But it was really the Dream SMP where Wilbur garnered a large amount of fame. Because yes, from the Dream SMP, Wilbur started to develop an extremely dedicated audience. He was arguably, in 2020, one of the biggest content creators about. He was simply everywhere, skyrocketing himself to
Who are all the Dream SMP members? Or who are the original ones? Wasn't there a list of them before?
create the case. Could have just got whiplash. Because yes, of course, Wilbur joined the Dream SMP. Yes, there were...
Okay, here they are. I don't even know who all of these are. Okay, if you liked Wilbur Soot, that means that you were horny on main. If you like J Slat, you probably date male manipulators. If you like Ted Nevinson, you probably watch a lot of TV. You like a good show. You like a good format. Give me what I'm calling for. Who the else are these people? If you like Dream, wait, what is your personality type? If you like Dream, you want to be the leader. You want to be the boss. You want to be at the front of the group. Who else is in there? If you like George, you're kind of a bitch. And you're also horny on main. You're a bitch and you're horny on main. But like, and also he was a nice guy. But I'm just saying like that. I feel like that's what that demo was. And who else? Tubbo. If you like Tubbo, you're 12. Tubbo was one of the most popular, but all of his fans were like really, really, really young. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Tommy. Who are the Tommy fans? Actually, this is one that I'll say was kind of nice. I feel like if you like Tommy, you're actually probably kind of funny. I didn't think he was that funny, but I feel like the people that liked him liked like John Mulaney, like style, like they were funny kids, you know? Also, I've met like all of these people before at some point through some Twitch event or something. Everybody's been nice. I don't have any bad experiences with these people. This episode is sponsored by ZocDoc. And listen, I've done a lot of ZocDoc sponsorships, and I have a little personal anecdote to tell you that I think is pretty important. Some of you guys know this, but a couple years ago, I found out that I had skin cancer. And because of the overwhelm of finding a doctor that took my insurance, making the call, dealing with the issue itself, wondering if this mole was cancerous, it took me too long. It took me like 3 years. Because of that, when I finally found a doctor, they had to go in multiple times. It was a very traumatic process, and it was like absolutely terrible. All of that to say, that experience definitely shocked me into realizing, oh, wow, I really need to go to the doctor and get my checkups. It is really overwhelming for me sometimes to do the things that I need to do. And that is why I absolutely love ZocDoc. If it was easier for me to look at a list of doctors and really evaluate their ratings and reviews, or if it was easier to do these things, I probably would have had a simple mole punch almost 3 years ago. As I get older, I think going to the doctor is one of the best things that you can do for yourself, not only because it's preventative and you can catch things early, but also because the relief you feel when you get any of your physical results back and they're like, okay, you're good for another year, sister. Oh, makes you feel very safe and really secure. ZocDoc is a free service that lets you book your doctor's appointments online. If you live in a big city, you have to be using this. It's so important. All you have to do is go to the website or the app, however you want to use it, put in your location, put in your insurance if you want to, and put in what type of doctor you're looking for, and just start scrolling. Then, once you find the right doctor, you can look immediately through all of their available appointment bookings and book it online. I get upset if I have a doctor that doesn't have ZocDoc. I'm like, please, I don't want to call you. Let me book it from my phone. So look, like I said, it's free. But if you want to let them know where you came from, all you got to do is use my code. It's ZocDoc.com/BOZEVTW. That's ZocDoc.com/BOZE, BOZEVTW.
And with that, it takes us back to the individual known as Tyler Catastrophe. So yes, for the third time, meet Tyler Catastrophe, the person that I briefly introduced you to at the beginning of this video.
Okay.
It's time to talk about everything to do with this individual. Because yes, in 2026, Tyler Catastrophe has been making a name for himself for pretty much all of the wrong reasons, and it all is attributed to Wilbur Soot.
I'm here to tell you happy birthday.
I know some of y'all ate that up too. Tyler sure did. I know y'all ate that shit up.
You know, because it is your birthday. So have a very happy birthday. Hope your life isn't short.
But the question is, who is Tyler? Well, Tyler is a 27-year-old.
Wow, this is terrible. How are you 27 with a millennial bio? Haver of skills, maker of things, and doer of stuff. Tyler Catastrophe, everybody.
Self-proclaimed haver of skills, maker of things, doer of stuff. It is incredibly Reddit coded. It's, to be honest with you, that entire bio screams I am a millennial Reddit user. But alas, that is who Tyler is. And also, yes, Tyler is a major fan of Wilbur Soot. At the time of recording this video, multiple videos have been going viral recently about this man's obsession. It is to a level of which you could describe as unhinged, where it's getting to a point of where this individual is being speculated to have considered to move to Brighton to be near Wilbur. And given the sheer virality of this individual, it really did have me wondering, how does somebody get to this point? How does somebody get to a point of where they have basically dedicated their entire well-being in life to one individual, to the point of where they've now defended Wilbur Soot in the Shelby situation multiple times, as you'll see in this video. And it really has me fascinated to wonder, how can someone get to this point? So what I want to do in this chapter is explore the origins of this individual. And not to garner sympathy for the individual, but to just understand, because as somebody that does this for a job, sometimes I do get confused with a lot of the people that I talk about, and this person definitely confuses me. Are they doing it for clout? Is it a real obsession? Well, let's find out. Now, Tyler Catastrophe, also known as Tyler Salona, was born on April the 15th.
So, for you guys that need a little context, Tyler is obsessed with this content creator named Wilbur Soot, who, mind you, was heavily looked into and canceled after his girlfriend, and I want to say some other people, came out with some allegations against him. And not only that, like, yo, dude was weird. He was like biting people when they didn't want to be bit. I know we're starting with the biting, but I know some of you bitches in here be biting. Something happened when you're 5 and we never let them gums go. Okay, I get it. I look, whenever I say that, I know that some people are like, I'm a biter. I'm like, okay, whatever. But he was biting people that didn't want to be bit. Point blank period. Like physical. Okay. So he gets a lot of heat for that. Understandably so a few years ago. But I think what's interesting here is like, Tyler doesn't care. See, look, there's the bitey people in chat. I know y'all. Y'all in here. I find interesting about this is Tyler does not care about that at all. Like, doesn't care that Wilbur, was hurting ex-girlfriends. Doesn't care that the general public doesn't really like him. He's like, that's my man. He's like, excuse me, that right there, that is my man. I'm sorry.
Tyler Salona was born on April the 15th, 1999.
Would you send a birthday card to a stranger, yes or no? Because I'm going to be 26 in a week, like April 15th specifically.
Now, I just realized at the time of recording this video, it's actually his birthday.
Shut the Nothing makes me happier than realizing that like 50% of us all just laughed at the same time. That is the wholeness and that is the oneness that I crave in society. Just those little moments where we all laugh together at one thing. That's hilarious.
Actually his birthday. Well, don't comment happy birthday. Now, Tyler was originally born in Oklahoma. If you're from Oklahoma, I'm sorry to let you know that. But eventually, he ended up relocating to Texas. But honestly, when you take a brief look at this person's social media, Tyler just comes off as a pretty successful business person. They come off as somebody who really is just living the dream of running their own business and making a lot of money from their business, according to them.
My attention, some of you still don't know who I am. But luckily, I do. And since I'm currently in the process of using my art and jewelry as a means to move all the way from Texas to the UK in the hopes of acquiring...
Dude, it's giving, hi everybody. I know. You've been waiting. Well, I can't believe I'm wearing a choker in this video. How the is my choker one string and one object and it looks better than Tyler? I am going to roast these necklaces because you're talking about some $200, $300. Girl, if you took that little that little sunflower and put it on this string on my neck. How fire would that be? Oh, by the way, it's here. That's right, the unmedicated and weird shirts. Listen, I moved as quickly as I could to get these made. And some of you're going to be like,
this is old news.
No, it's not. You know why? Because not the rest of us don't have TikTok brain, and we're still unmedicated and weird. By TikTok brain, I mean like, oh, the joke's not over. The joke is forever.
This is what we do now. This is who we are.
I've been in this joke forever.
I was born in it.
Sorry, I'm losing it today. I'm in a good mood. The t-shirts are here. You can buy them at BOZE We're starting off with the unmedicated and weird, but I've heard that some medicated weirdos need a t-shirt too. Please buy a shirt. Please buy a tote. Last but not least, I do want to mention, I made the design very, very simple. We could have added more and more to the design, but I love the simplicity and the close letters and the just kind of like, yep, this is it. And if you see another bozo out in the wild wearing the shirt or hoodie, you've got to look at them and just give them the head nod. Bozos in the wild, okay? Y'all know we all have anxiety. We can't say hey to each other, dab each other up, be like, what's up? But if you see somebody wearing the shirt and you know, just hit them with the... How funny would that be if you were wearing the hoodie and somebody hit you with that at the airport? Ugh, I love it.
My attention, some of you still don't know who I am. But luckily, I do. And since I'm currently in the process of using my art and jewelry as a means to move all the way from Texas to the UK, in the hopes of acquiring some variation of a global talent visa so I can continue my work, I think it might be time to brag a little. So hi, my name is Tyler Salona, otherwise known as Tyler Catastrophe. I'm from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, currently living in North Texas. I'm an accomplished lifelong musician, a published poet, an exhibited artist.
A published poet?
Living in North Texas. I'm an accomplished lifelong musician,
How are you an accomplished lifelong musician at 26? How are you an accomplished lifelong anything at 26? For the first time in history, the 26-year-olds have caught a stray. And a published poet. So many people have been published when they were children. An exhibited artist and painter.
Published poet, an exhibited artist and painter, and I'm known internationally.
You...
Lifelong musician, a published poet,
you exhibited those in the last video as well. In fact, those are the only paintings that I've seen from you.
Exhibited artist and painter, and I'm known internationally as a weaver, beadworker, and jewelry designer. I've sold tens of thousands of pieces of artwork.
Beadworker!
Beads.
Bees?
Beads.
Beads? Job's not on board.
Beads are very big right now.
Call an internationally acclaimed sound and light artist, impressionist painter, and beadworker, Tyler Catastrophe, everybody. He's here in the studio.
I've sold tens of thousands of pieces of artwork and jewelry, both in person and online. I've shipped to all 50 states and 26 countries on 5 continents.
Oh my God. A funny guest said, beadworker is a meaningful word in the Native American community. That is crazy if he's like claiming titles in Native American culture. Also, mind you, if the person in there is trying to say that beadworker is a term that people should know because of Native American culture, bitch, I'm a federally registered Native American. My dad lives on the registration. I've been to many powwows. I have not heard anybody use the word beadworker in my tribe. However, if it's a big thing in other tribes, sure, totally get that. Okay, wait. Somebody in chat said, I'm Native American. My sister is a beadworker. Okay, I don't know what tribe y'all are in, but how do you tell me? I trust you. How do you feel about him using the word beadworker? I don't like it. Someone said IDK about the other nations. It's definitely an Anishinaabe thing up in Canada among other nations. Interesting. All right, sorry, we'll keep this going.
Redesigner. I've sold tens of thousands of pieces of artwork and jewelry, both in person and online. I've shipped to all 50 states and 26 countries on 5 continents, including Antarctica so far.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Sorry.
Dozens of in-person vendor events. If not over 100, I didn't count. I've shown my work in multiple exhibitions, including an exhibition for Clara Looper, the mother of the civil rights movement in Oklahoma.
Who is that?
In multiple exhibitions, including an exhibition for Clara.
Who is that? I don't know why, but this painting reminds me of, Do you guys know that TikTok video where the mom is laughing because the daughter drew a picture of her mom and she didn't want to show her mom what the picture was? And their mom is like, show the picture.
I sat here and posed for like 10 minutes.
I don't know why, but this gives me that same exact energy.
Looper, the mother of the civil rights movement in Oklahoma, as well as a solo exhibition in Denton, Texas that lasted over a month. And in just the past 5 years, I've designed unique, one-of-a-kind jewelry you can't find anywhere else. That's been worn for everything from weddings to cosplays, from TED Talks to fashion shows. And so far, my work has a 100% success rate when it comes to marriage proposals. All of my work adheres to very strict quality control. Like this pink and green piece that I designed as a fun challenge to match this Ellie Saab gown from the 2025 Spring Couture collection. And every detail from the structure of the weave itself, to the quality of each individual bead and gemstone I use, is held to a meticulous standard that I will never compromise on. And I have 6 custom pieces currently under...
But you know what Tyler will compromise on? Considering his work akin to that of the Native Americans and creating these highly tribal and important pieces that are usually saved for sacred members of the tribe and then selling them out to the general public. Bead working... These are pretty intricate.
Contract for a movie that should be recommencing filming in the coming months. Like this one, that is absolutely full of so much amethyst. I've helped multiple young artists and musicians get their foot in the door and make their starts. And the respect and reputation I've worked very hard to earn. From peers, clients, fellow artists, event organizers, means that my confidence in myself and my abilities and my work is pretty much unshakable at this point. And as someone who was born into generational poverty and started this journey with virtually zero support system, I've blown...
One in chat if you were born into generational poverty and had a lot of trouble having a support system. Let me drop a 1 in chat.
Past so many personal limits, pushed so many creative and professional boundaries, that there is genuinely not a single person on the entire earth who could ever make...
Not Nikel in the chat! Nikel hit the 1 in chat! Nikel's our producer, guys. The producer came in and said, girl, 1.
make me believe that I don't rightfully deserve to feel pride in who I am and what I've accomplished.
Now, yeah, Tyler seems very confident in what they do, and honestly, I'm not going to mock them for what they do. If they were just a
I never. The necklaces are ugly.
necklace maker, I would actually say, hey, that's pretty cool. You go and make your bag. Now,
he has to be the nice one.
Necklaces and the jewelry that they make has gone viral. A lot of people have been speaking about the things that he makes, and some have been debating that it's overpriced. Honestly, I don't really think it's relevant to the conversation that we're having today. But yeah, I wanted to establish this individual has supposedly, according to him at least, run a very, very successful jewelry selling business. And yeah, over the years, Tyler has documented this jewelry on...
Most people just say their sales like they do on Shark Tank rather than whatever this was.
social media, and in general, Tyler has also spoke about his personal journey in his life. For example, in 2022, Tyler gained a little bit of popularity on TikTok when he spoke about the treatment that he had received in his childhood from his parents, who had supposedly neglected him and prioritized their brother, who had more, well, I guess, conventional interests.
Growing up, my parents helped run a non-profit soccer park, so when my brother started showing real actual talent and drive, you can see where their favorite was. And because goalies are highly sought after, and he was one of the best, my childhood was spent in the back of the car raising myself while he was doing Olympic development, out-of-state tournaments, constant practices, conditioning sessions, games, everything. And don't get me wrong, soccer's great. I was a referee for 6 years. It's fun. I like the sport. Fully admit that he was good. But we both had the exact same amount of talent, passion, and drive in different areas. And I was the one who was always made to sacrifice.
Is the talent in the room with us? I'm just kidding.
Sports get scholarships, and he's gonna buy his mom a house one day.
Look, sometimes when I watch, one of the boys' videos, I watch an I Never video. I Never got to be the good guy. Listen, can you let I Never be the good guy and just let me be the bad guy for this video? I hate the necklaces. I hate them so fucking ugly.
And I was a musician who was incredibly good, but everyone knows musicians are destined to fail. So it was constantly, we don't have enough money for this thing, Patrick needs new uniforms. You can't go to this thing, we have to go to Patrick's game. You have to leave early for this thing because Patrick has a tournament in the morning. Do you have any idea how humiliating it is to be in marching band? Okay, you're in marching band. You've just given one of the best performances you guys have given all season, and you have to leave early and tell your director that you have to leave early and have no choice because you made the mistake of inviting your parents because you thought that they would be proud of you, but your little brother has a game in the morning and they want to go home. I didn't even get to practice at home because
it is a very real trauma where, you know, the other sibling gets all the accolades and the other sibling gets all the accolades because maybe the other sibling is a bit more neurotypical, or they're able to do things that people know to clap for. We finished high school, clap. We finished the degree, clap. We've landed this big job, clap. And then the neurodivergent sibling is kind of left in a place where they're driven and excited about things, but they don't get any accolades because they're in like a weird field. I'm sure a lot of you guys have experienced this. If you are the latter, the second person, what you have to do is go out there and prove to the world that like your art and your divergence is really great. And you did put your art on display, and this is where we're at, right?
it annoyed my brother. So when I didn't get to take myself seriously until college, so while this kid had literally everything handed to him on a silver platter,
that's your
offers by
sibling.
freshman year, scouted by Premier League teams, the Olympics. He got himself kicked off the soccer team, dropped out of high school, got a girl pregnant, and then just this weekend, got married with a gun on his hip that matched his suspenders. And considering how racist, homophobic, and just overall a bitch he is, I do not feel bad at all for how much pride I take in the fact that I made it and he didn't. The kid was a bully who told me to kill myself almost every day of my life.
Jesus.
And now I've got famous people who say my name on a regular basis.
Okay.
And he's got a job at the same company my dad's worked for, like, basically our entire lives. So yeah, I think parents need to be way more careful which kid they choose to bet against.
So yeah, it is...
Parents should be more careful about what child they choose to bet against. If I can give one little piece of advice, and, you know, I'm somebody that's like, don't cut off your abusers, run away, blah, 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 blah. You know, well, I don't ever really say, do I say cut off your abusers? I just say know what's going on. Look, I'm the first person to say, look around you. Look at what's going on. That person, they're not nice. And that wasn't what they said it was. You know, I'm the first to be that type of person. Life advice. If you're fighting with a family member, whether it's a parent, you know, we've seen a lot of the estranged parent stuff, or especially if it's a sibling, there's a high chance that with some of your siblings it will work out. Don't put it on the internet. Like, don't, you know, have those words over the phone. This is a relationship that is more than likely to bounce back. Of course, some people have terrible siblings and they have to be cut off. But think about it. When you say like 50 or 60% of people that go online to rant about a sibling are probably going to turn right around and repair the relationship. Shit, girl. It might be more like 85. I'm just making numbers up. But you tell me what number you think.
Their entire lives. So yeah, I think parents need to be way more careful which kid they choose to bet against.
So yeah, it is very clear from a young age, Tyler didn't necessarily have a role model for a parent. He didn't really have the parents there for him, and you're going to go on to find out that these parents were very neglectful. And I don't again say this to create a sob story or a piece of sympathy, but it is generally to get to an understanding of where we are at. Because yes, Tyler has developed a parasocial relationship with Wilbur Soot over the last few years, and a lot of that, from what I've read at least, can be attributed to some of the things that he's spoken about from his childhood. And I'm not trying to diagnose anything here, but there have been a lot of psychologists that have written about attachment theory, where it suggests that individuals who didn't form a strong bond with a primary caregiver in early childhood will try to find an attachment substitute as adults, and engaging in parasocial relationships allows them to do so. And look, it is a bit of a joke.
I've never heard of this particular concept before, but walk with me for a second. If you didn't have a particular parent in your life, or sometimes even a sibling, if you didn't have mom, dad, or maybe sister went somewhere, you're gonna permanently have a part of your brain that asks if the grass is greener on the other side. And in that area where the grass is greener, it's like a playground that you get to play around in. And in this playground, people dream, fantasize. I think some of you guys call it yearning. Is that where this word is used? Yearning. And when you're in that little field skipping around yearning, you're getting dopamine hits. You're getting dopamine from this fake fantasy. You're getting dopamine from dreaming of this happening. He's getting dopamine from the first time that Wilbur, puts his head on his shoulder. It's like a fanfic inside of the head. And so what you've got to understand is that right there is it's a little room inside of your head. It's the dopamine room. It's a machine, okay? You can go away in fantasy land and feel your brain lights up in that fantasy land the same way it does if you scroll 10 TikToks and 4 of them were good. That's how it feels, okay? So what is also happening to Tyler is, and also I'm assuming, I think it said Tyler is like very neurodivergent, especially with people that have ADHD. They love these little dopamine playgrounds, okay? Some dopamine playgrounds are in the external. Some dopamine playgrounds are in your mind, but they're a very particular room.
And engaging in parasocial relationships allows them to do so. And look, it is a bit of a joke in a lot of social media when somebody sees someone in a fan base who has dedicated their entire life to something to be called fatherless or it's fatherless behavior. Now, personally, I don't necessarily think this can be for literally every single situation. I'm not going to lie to you, my friends. When I was a kid, actually, I joke about it, but my parents... maybe it applies to me in some cases, but I've ran things in the past where, you know, like I wrote fan fiction for the Avatar: The Last Airbender series and stuff like that. I've done it. I wouldn't necessarily say it's fatherless behavior, but to some, it can lead to that. And with Tyler, it is very clear that over the years of his childhood, he did not have a good attachment to his parents, particularly his father, who, according to him, was a narcissistic abuser who made his family go homeless and is factually the worst person he ever knew.
How did the spawn end up on Narc Week?
Biological father is the worst person I've ever known, which is actually why when people ask, I usually just say he's dead. Because he is dead. To me. I honestly believe he is the sole reason my entire life has felt as if I was moving through quicksand. But now I'm ready to run. And now that my youngest sibling is over the age of 18 and can no longer be used as leverage and can also leave if she wants, I really want to see what happens when a scapegoat sings like a canary. But because I want this to be an ongoing series and because I know he likes to sue, a little disclaimer. Everything I have to say on this topic is based on my own personal...
I don't trust anybody when they go into so a little something. Like, if I ever do that, I'm being completely sarcastic or like I'm pissed off. Well, I guess he is being transparent that he hates his dad, but like that, I hate that dude.
Personal experiences and observations, and is, to the best of my knowledge and intention, true. Also, I won't be naming any names, so best of luck. Also, on an unrelated note, I have all of these things and the clicky thing that you click on. Might as well give them a look if you want. My parents got divorced when I was a senior in high school, and I wish they'd done it sooner. My father had been cheating on my mother for who knows how long, and doing a whole bunch of other stuff that really made it seem like he just wanted her to kick him out. But the straw that really broke the camel's back was on Thanksgiving of all days, when my mother realized he had been...
Wait, hold on. There's like so much info here.
I wish they'd done it sooner. My father had been cheating on my mother for who knows how long, and doing a whole bunch of other stuff that really made it seem like he just wanted her to kick him out.
Dad cheating and then doing a bunch of stuff that made him want, so he's like also probably pretty avoidant and tries to, you know how sometimes a man doesn't want to break up with you, but they'll do things to get you to break up with him. That's what most dudes do, by the way. That's a very it's a specific type of mentality.
But the straw that really broke the camel's back was on Thanksgiving of all days, when my mother realized he had been shopping for holsters on their joint Amazon account. And because there were a lot of mental health issues in that house, my mother's one hard deal breaker was no firearms. But he had one for a while, and he made me and my siblings who knew about it keep it a secret from her. So when she gave him an ultimatum, either it goes or you go, he ran like a bat out of hell. He literally dragged my mother down the driveway with his truck because she didn't want him to leave. And because we were all worried that he was going to himself, I was the one who had to call his parents. Me, a senior in high school, who had just had to place himself between his father, who had a firearm, and his siblings, who hated him. But the real kicker is that one of the...
Okay, dramatic father that used drama and terror to keep the attention on them at all times. I only talk about this because I think it's a mechanism that a lot of kids miss, and I see it in a lot of sinister cases. Some people... Some parents, I actually accidentally kind of like picked this up like at some point, and I figured it out. So that's why I'm telling you this. But some parents don't feel a lot of fear, or they don't feel a lot of human emotions. And because they are parents, we would expect that parents don't do that. Parents are supposed to be full of love. Well, no, parents are human, right? And some humans are devoid of emotion, and some humans are devoid of fear. And so it is possible for a parent to be devoid of emotion and devoid of fear, right? But we're all sitting here hoping that our parent won't be that one parent. Well, when people don't have fear, but they enjoy human fear, they will create it in any entity that is around them. So if this is a husband, he will poke buttons on his wife and terrorize her or scare her because he thinks it's fun. Or he will terrorize his own children because he thinks it's fun. And then the children ingest the mechanism of terror, okay? They learn that their emotions are scary. And like an animal that's screaming and loud, they can make things go away if they deploy terror, okay? So what he's explaining to me is a father that occasionally deploys terror. If you know the signs, you know the signs. And then the way that children ingest that a lot is, sometimes with theatrics, sometimes with a lot of things. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just thinking really hard. But terror from a parent as trauma is one that you don't really realize what it does to you until you're standing in the middle of it. Like, I don't know. Some people are going to understand that.
First things he did was drain the family bank accounts. And as far as I know, every single one he had access to. And for a little background here, my mother was a nurse for most of my childhood, but then when I was in middle school, I think, she went back to college and became a school teacher. And she taught in Oklahoma, so clearly she would not have enough money to care for all three of us. So effectively, he had forced her hand and made her sign over the rights to her children. I adamantly refused to go with him, and the second I put my foot down, it really started to feel like he wanted to make me regret it. Which is probably where we'll start part 2.
So yeah, obviously, despite what we're going to get into later on, I feel bad that he had to endure this and go through these horrible experiences. And again, I say these things to basically build the structure and story of what we're going to get into, and to kind of explain how somebody would get to the depths of defending somebody so much for some of the reasons that they give in the future. And by the way, I'm not trying to diagnose him with anything here. I'm more just speaking about how there are a lot of textbooks and papers out there that point to this type of behavior and give certain reasons. So yeah, not doing a Shane Dawson Date Paul series here. But in fairness to Tyler, it was very clear that this wasn't going to stop him pursuing his dreams, and eventually Tyler actually did go to college to study music production and business. Well, he claims that he did, but this is where I kind of get a little bit confused, and maybe my American compadres can help me out here. Because yeah, in October 2019, Tyler was hit by an SUV, causing health complications with his lungs that caused him to have to drop out of college and leave a band, as he was not able to sing anymore due to his health complications. But despite leaving college, he also at the same time claims that he actually did major.
So I'm definitely a big Lovejoy fan. Like, any band that uses trumpets and lyricism well together immediately has my heart. There's no other way. I'm just stuck for life. And because they got so big before they had played shows, I knew exactly what was going to happen. Because with a little bit of my background, between being a musician my whole life, going to anything from $5 basement shows to $300 stadium shows to fucking Warped Tour, I also majored in music production and business with a heavy focus on event management and coordination. I've had my place on various guest lists, and I've been known to get bands gigs.
So yeah, he did major, but he also dropped out from college. Now, from my own research, apparently majoring and actually fully graduating with a degree is a different thing. I'm not actually 100% sure, to be honest with you. It's not exactly that important of a detail, but if you want to let me know down below, you can let me know down below. But also in another interview in 2026, Tyler did confirm that he did drop out, so I am a little bit confused. I'm not going to say he was lying, but maybe this is just me misunderstanding. But the reason that I speak about this is to kind of show to you that from a younger age, it was very clear that Tyler had interest in music, singing, and the arts. Say and the arts, like music and singing just aren't arts. I mean, for certain artists, it definitely is an art. That contradicts itself in them being an artist, but just ignore me. But this is where we need to move into 2022, when Tyler started a GoFundMe to help, quote-unquote, a disabled trans guy escape Texas. He stated that his name was Tyler, and he's a disabled transgender artist stuck in Texas, and he's been given an amazing opportunity in England to further his art career. Now, honestly, power to you, but I genuinely don't understand why somebody would be trying to escape Texas. I mean, I know it's a right-wing place, but to go to the UK, especially given, you know, being trans and disabled. I mean, the UK is quite literally...
Does anyone remember that video on TikTok that popped up like a month ago? And it was like this lady that had just moved to Canada, and she literally starts off the video by being like, I'm in Canada and we have fled the United States. And it was like during a week where like the least was going on in America. Bitch, the most is always going on over here. And everybody on TikTok was like, what do you mean you fled? And she was like a professor or something. You guys know what I'm talking about? That shit was so dramatic.
As TERF Island. The treatment of trans people in the UK is absolutely diabolical, and they are absolutely just completely pushed to the side in the worst possible ways, and the same can be said for disabled people, especially with the way right-wing right-wing parties are rising in this country. So I thought I'd just say there, like, I don't really get I don't get why he would do this. Now, Tyler will go on to claim the specific place that he wanted to move to was a very, you know, left-wing liberal, you know, accepting place, which it definitely is, but there are also very accepting left-wing places in the US as well, and making such a massive, drastic move is something that, well, you have to have real reason for. And, you know, Tyler claims that this was all down to the fact that, as he said previously, he's been given an amazing opportunity.
Hey, could y'all maybe do me a favor real quick and blow this up because it's really important to me? Yeah? Okay, thanks. Love you, bye.
So yeah, Tyler really, really wanted to get to the UK, but unfortunately, it did not happen. Despite the supposed opportunity that they had, it all fell apart, which they explain in this TikTok here.
So y'all know how I was supposed to move to England last year? And how I'm clearly not in England this year? And I know I never really talked about why, I did not move to England because I was angry and trying to preserve other people's feelings, but now it's just really hitting me how f***ed up that situation was. You see, I was supposed to be working in an art studio with an artist that I have been looking up to for a very
No, you weren't. I just learned in the last video that you lied about this.
long time, and I never actually named him or the studio that I was supposed to be working for because I don't even know why. Maybe a part of me knew it wasn't going to work out. That part of me should have talked louder. But for nearly a year, I put my life on hold because I thought that this opportunity was gonna pan out. Just for him to randomly decide, actually no. And he didn't even have the respect for me to tell me. He just ghosted me. And I had to go through every other person in the studio to try and get an answer until finally his assistant let me know that it just wasn't gonna happen. And obviously the plan is still to move to England somehow, at some point. That's why the GoFundMe is still up and I haven't done anything with it. But in planning to move to England, I sold all of my music equipment. Except for my instruments. My recording setup, I sold my amps, I sold my cords, I sold everything because I didn't want to lug it across an ocean. And a very large part of me is so angry about it. Because it sucks.
So yeah, obviously I can imagine that this was a very disappointing moment in this person's life. They really had a plan seemingly, they wanted to move to the UK, and they wanted to experience British culture. Not really sure why, to be honest with you, whereas it was something that they wanted to do. But a lot of people started to ask...
Wait, Never is funny, bro. Never's gotten me a couple times this video. Never's funny.
Questions. Is this the real, authentic, 100% reason that this individual wanted to move to the UK?
Oh.
Because this is where the Wilbur Soot conversation starts to come into things.
Okay.
40 minutes into my video, I know. Because yes, a TikTok in 2026 started to get recirculated and do the rounds, where Tyler Catastrophe claimed that he wanted to move to Brighton.
Okay, wait. Before this one starts, can I just order a little pizza? Pepperoni, not the cupped pepperoni. Disgusting! Did you guys see my post the other day where I was mentioning that I really like having blueberries inside of yogurt because I like I love the circularness of the blueberry. The blueberry on its own is all right, but the blueberry in the yogurt when it's like creamy and it like it's just really good. I fuck with that heavy. There's something texturally about the blueberries inside of the yogurt that is fire. You know what people messaged me and told me to do? Add honey. Sensory people, tell them. The worst thing that you can do is add something sticky to something texturally perfect. And now I know. Flavor-wise, I don't think you guys are wrong for the honey at all. Roasted garlic cheese sticks. Bitch. I'm sorry, did somebody say Diet Coke? Diet Coke. Oh, they only have Pepsi. Roasted garlic cheese sticks or bacon cheddar. Roasted garlic cheese sticks. Let's just keep it simple. Ranch? Marinara. Not normally a marinara guy, but I feel like marinara with some strips were hidden. I'm a Pepsi Max girl. What is that, like a big Pepsi? Or does it have just like more, girl, I almost said seasoning, more flavor in it? What is a Pepsi Max? Oh, 0 calorie, sugar-free, caffeinated, with lime.
Where TikTok in 2026 started to get recirculated and do the rounds, where Tyler Catastrophe claimed that he wanted to move to Brighton.
Seeing the guy moving halfway around the world just to be closer to a YouTuber? If y'all think I would make a massive, life-altering decision that takes years of work to achieve, just because I was willing to admit on the internet that I think a musician I don't know has a pretty laugh, then y'all really have the wrong idea.
I love how he's kind of like projecting and saying it out loud to himself because he's like, is this real? Did I do this? No, I didn't do that, but that's exactly what you did.
And I suppose you have a better explanation? I was supposed to move to Bournemouth a couple years ago. I had a job lined up, I did a ton of research, made a ton of preparations, admittedly got a little too excited because it ended up falling through at the last minute. But when I finally dusted myself off and got myself back on track, and decided I could probably just move out of the US on my own, England was the easiest choice because I had already done so much of the work. But why Brighton specifically? But when I visited England and met the people I'd hoped to be working with...
You don't make a whole skit explaining this unless you're horny online for the YouTuber. You're horny on Maine.
I completely fell in love with the South Coast. I've always wanted to live near the ocean and it's gorgeous. And Brighton is a really popular city right now. I've got a bunch of friends and support in the area. And like with most college towns, it's got a thriving art and music scene.
Why are we lying on Maine? Why are we lying on Maine in detail? Why are we lie-maxing? I can't... You made me say climaxing. Why are we doing this? Like, oh no, we're about to enter a huge Wilbur Soot arc.
And people keep telling me it's the gay capital of the UK, which I think is hilarious.
Now, Brighton's a nice place. It's alright. It's got the beach. Not a very good beach, may I say, but it's got a beach. And the south coast, it's alright. It's alright, you know, it's not even special. It's just nice. It's alright, you know. Go for a day out, get ice creams and fish and chips, you know, British culture. You know what I'm saying? But
Wait, is anybody in chat in Brighton right now? I mean, I know it would be like, what? I don't know, 11 o'clock at night or midnight? I just want to know if anybody, I just want to know if Tyler's envious of anyone right now. Wait, oh my God. Okay, 1 a.m. here in the UK. Hi, Catholics. Oh, you guys that are in here, how do you feel about Tyler wanting to move to Brighton so bad? I need to ask my editor and channel manager.
Wanted to move from Texas, get ice creams and fish and chips, you know, British culture. You know what I'm saying? But he wanted to move from Texas to Brighton, and you know, Brighton is a big gay place, of course. But moving across continents is a bit of a move, you know, is a bit of a drastic action. And well, one individual that we mentioned today,
moving
Wilbur
across
Soot,
for Brighton, did he say it's like LGBTQ friendly? Is Wilbur gay?
But moving across continents is a bit of a move, you know, is a bit of a drastic action.
Yeah.
And well, one individual that we've mentioned today, Wilbur Soot, also coincidentally lived in Brighton. And I have kind of jumped around in the timeline here for when things have gone viral and when things haven't gone viral, but Tyler's obsession with Wilbur started to do the rounds, and it then led to people finding these TikToks about him wanting to move to Brighton, and it of course made a lot of people out there think that he only wanted to move to the UK to get closer to a certain Wilbur Soot.
Absolutely.
And yeah, with that, it leads us into the conversations finally surrounding him and his obsession with Wilbur.
TR he in all capitals said Wilbur is not gay, and he's proven his type is like alt girls. I'm going to take it as gospel.
Because yes, a clip from 2024 started to go viral when Tyler made the claim that
Based on the fact that person was a first-time chatter and it was all in capital letters, I think that this person is a Wilbur Soot historian, and I choose to believe it.
A clip from 2024 started to go viral when Tyler made the claim that Shelby was basically not telling the truth and that Wilbur was innocent of everything that he had been accused of.
Oh my God!
This is finally the beginning of the obsession.
Also, I don't know if you guys know, but like Shelby or Shubble, she has been like in the Minecraft and YouTube community for like over a decade. She's clean as a whistle, okay? She's like the nicest person. That's crazy! That's crazy! Why would you do that?
Now, stan culture, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, is definitely something that can be good. It can lead to very positive things. I'm not going to be somebody that directly hates on K-pop stans or, you know, Dan and Phil stans or, they're honestly the only stans I care about. But I'm not going to hate on them because I think some of them are actually, a lot of them, most of them, in fact, are just people trying to enjoy themselves and celebrate the creators that they love and the fan base that they're in. But this special little cupcake, I can't lie to you, He's the bad example of what stan culture can possibly be. Not a representation of it overall, but definitely, considering what he says about Shelby and Wilbur, well, it's not great.
I do not think that Wilbur Soot is an abuser, and I know I've said that fairly indirectly in the past, especially recently, but I do feel like now it needs to be said point blank.
I don't know if this has ever happened in the history of the internet, that somebody gets straight up canceled by a person that knows them very, very well, and somebody goes online and is like, I don't know. I can't even do it. He sat down confessional style and was like, I don't think she's telling the truth, and here's why. Like, God, what? What possessed you to do this? What demonic possession?
Because as someone who has been a victim of abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, I know way too well what those things look like.
First things first here, I need to immediately say, if you're a victim of anything, that does not give you the right to look at another victim's story and say, oh, this happened to me, therefore I am the oracle of abuse. That is something that is honestly very frustrating to see, and it's something that, as somebody that's covered a lot of these types of stories over the years...
Yeah, because also, here's another reason why you can't take people online saying, well, I've XYZ and da-da-da, so I can speak to this. Some people are contrarians. Some people like the attention of being the opposite, or some people love going against the grain. So while some people are perfectly honest and just listing why their lens like is formed this way or where it comes from, you got to assume 50% of the people are being honest, and then a good chunk of them, like, I don't know, 40 or 30% of them are actually contrarians that are just bullshitting and trying to get some attention. Hey, have you considered this fact before? Have you considered that somebody online can literally just like lie? I've thought about this before. If someone were to say something to your face, you would kind of assess the whole situation to decide if you're going to ingest that information or not. But when we're online, everybody type the same. Everybody got a username. Everybody got a username with a number in it. Everybody got a username with a capital letter. Some people type lowercase. Some people type. I do not know the difference between a 10-year-old and a 57-year-old typing online in the comment section. How am I supposed to know? So how can I take it at face value when somebody says, I experienced this or I experienced that? Babe, people lie. People lie. They lie. Just because you would never lie in a comment online and you don't see the value doesn't mean that there aren't millions of people doing that all the time. Like,
is honestly very frustrating to see, and it's something that, as somebody that's covered a lot of these types of stories over the years, I consistently see where a victim stands up for somebody who has been accused of a lot of heinous things, and they seem to believe that just because they went through some form of abusive situation, that means that they can now dictate what is right.
I gotta see what Tyler says about this.
That is immediately not just a red flag, but just flat out wrong and something that you cannot do.
It's
Your
wrong.
Personal experiences are personal experiences. You were not in the shoes of Shelby. You were in your own shoes, experiencing, yes, what you experienced in the past, and I'm sorry you went through that, but it does not give you the right to attack other victims out there. And of course, this is only the beginning, and it's just going to continuously, progressively get worse from this point, but of course, 10 seconds in, it's an absolute disaster.
Yes.
And while I know that most of my audience knows how I approach things like this by now, I also know that if I post this video, there will probably be a lot of people who don't know me who see it, so I'm going to try to be as kind, direct, and clear-cut as I can.
It's not kind.
I don't think this woman's objective reality happened. I'm going to try to be as kind as I can, though.
To be condescending and belittling towards other victims because you're also a victim in another situation. It's not kind to victim blame, and you're doing that. So don't tell me that you're being kind. You're doing the exact opposite of that. You're victim blaming. That's not kind. That's disgusting.
So I'm going to stick to 3 main points from Shovel's VODs. Please go and watch them yourself. You are under no obligation to think the way that I do. And then I'm going to touch on Wilbur's response, and then I think the general response needs to be addressed as well.
No.
Because Shovel's main points were that Wilbur was a slob, had a messy house, that she paid for a lot of her way to see him, and that he bit her. For point 1, let's be honest, most men aren't taught how to take care of themselves in their living spaces. And for men in their early 20s, that's a lot worse than it should be.
Firstly, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Of course, a lot of people out there have not taught their children how they should, actually live and be and act, but I feel like a lot of people out there know the difference.
Holy shit. River Fishy in chat said, I can see the pedestal he has himself on from here.
Between being a little bit messy and living in complete disgusting filth. Now, he's obviously going to go and try to use the point of, oh, well, him living in a disgusting house isn't technically abuse, but that's not even the point here. Shelby only mentioned these things in her stream because she was telling her entire story and trying to reflect the fact that she tried her best in every opportunity to help Will,
she was showing where the difficulties began. And I think that's super fair, especially when, like, he's one of those guys that presents as, like, I'm a cozy, soft guy, nice guy.
Did was cause her pain and stress, like he literally admitted to in his own response and apology. So I am a little bit confused why you come on here and deny these things when Wilbur himself has admitted to causing pain. It is a little bit confusing why he says that, but you say, oh no, I'm a victim. I know what victimhood is.
Every man I dated in their late teens, early 20s was gross. That's just kind of par for the course. It's sucks, but it is to be expected. And it is not, by default, malicious. 2, paying your own way, especially for a distance like that, is kind of expected. And when you take into account that they were both very successful in their respective careers at that point, paying your own expenses isn't by default malicious.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know Wilbur, but I definitely had association via other mutual friends with Wilbur in the past. These Minecraft YouTubers make money. They made a lot of cheddar. They made a lot.
Oh, Jewel Rez said, is he saying boys will be boys? Yes, like that's literally like what he's trying to say.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think Shelby made the levels of money these individuals were making. And I honestly think that Wilbur should have paid for the majority of the things, because I feel like if you have a partner and they're a millionaire, I feel like the millionaire should probably pay for the most things. I think that's pretty normal. And again, when Shelby speaks about these types of things, she's building the story and making people understand the ins and outs of their relationship. Of course, it starts to get into more severe and serious things, but she tells these things to let us know what actually took place in this relationship, where both of them were at, and to give an accurate reflection on the story. Of course, the biting element is the most serious part of the story, but just getting on live stream and being like, oh yeah, he bit me, and nothing else, that would be a bit weird. That would be a bit strange, and telling the entire story with context is very important. But of course, this person who is a victim themselves, they know the best way to tell the stories about abuse, and they know what's right and what isn't. Just shut up, honestly. You're just chatting nonsense. And I also feel like Tyler has very much represented that they do not understand this situation completely, because he complains that Shelby mentions the filth, and he complains that Shelby speaks about the amount of money that she had to spend in her relationship with Wilbur, but these two things coincide with each other. There's a reason that she mentioned this when giving a broader picture on what actually took place in their relationship. But oh no, according to Tyler, these things really aren't relevant.
For the third point, Shovel states very clearly in her follow-up VOD that she consented to the biting. She then went on to clarify that what she had an issue with was the fact that it hurt. And while I don't think anyone...
Dude, like, just to sum it up very plainly, I know some of you guys don't know who Shovel or who Wilbur Soot is or anything. If you want to, say something, just trust me. She's a very non-problematic creator. She dated this guy for a while. He hid their relationship. I actually think she kind of got pushed to a point with coming out with this. But the main issue with the biting, think about this. Some men love to push sexual boundaries. It's like their favorite thing is to like act like, whoa, I didn't know. No. The way that she described the biting was as though like he just described it like it was no big deal, but it became more and more harsh. It felt boundary pushing. He was breaking skin, there was bruising, and it was like, please stop. He was asked multiple times and he did not. So to me, it kind of checks off that box where a guy enjoys pushing boundaries to see what he can get away with. But in this case, there was a physical aspect of it that was extremely upsetting. And so him saying that she consented to the biting is really, 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 it's crazy. It's crazy.
She consented to the biting. She then went on to clarify that what she had an issue with was the fact that it hurt. And while I don't think anyone should be hurt in their relationships, at the end of the day, that is a communication issue. And whether it's just a poor communication...
Here, and also, let me explain like one other thing here. Just walk with me for a second if you don't understand why this is an issue. Let's say that you have a partner and, whenever you're, being intimate or something, they push a boundary and they bite you. And eventually you're like, okay, hey, I get it, that's your thing. I need you to stop, okay? And then let's say you're intimate again and they randomly bite you, but it's not that bad. And you think to yourself, maybe I can ignore this one, right? And then the next time it's worse. And the next time it's worse. And then after that, now the person in the relationship has an anxiety around intimacy, whether they're cuddling or doing something more, that they're randomly going to be bitten. It's actually scary. It's actually scary. The girl says she said, please don't do that. Next, the anxiety around, is this going to happen anytime we're close? That is also traumatizing. So I'm really not rocking with this, bro.
Or lack thereof, what she had an issue with.
I remember this too. Dark Luna in chat is saying, and she said they had a safe word and she used it, but he would ignore it. So just, I'm just trying to give you a little additional context that what Tyler is saying here is quite crazy.
To the biting. She then went on to clarify that what she had an issue with was the fact that it hurt. And while I don't think anyone should be hurt in their relationships, at the end of the day, that is a communication issue. And whether it's just a poor communication or lack thereof, both parties are responsible for that.
Again, I don't understand why he's saying these things when Wilbur has actually apologized for doing this. But also, the main point most people have had with this situation is the weaponization of the safe word. With the stories that Shelby gave involving the biting, how it very much did seem, according to the words that she had said, that Wilbur tested this safe word to the maximum extent in seemingly
boundary
every
pushing.
single
Men will do this sometimes. Push your sexual boundaries and be like, oh, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you communicate? I didn't know. You did know. You did know. It's in the same category of, please explain my bad behavior to me. It's the same exact type of thing.
scenario. And also, I feel like Tyler is forgetting the fact that in Shelby's livestream, she stated that the only reason a safe word was invented was because he kept on pushing the biting and hurting her and causing bruises. And even after that, it very much seems, at least from my perspective, that the safe word was being weaponized.
But he did mention something early that I should have taken as a red flag. And he wanted to make sure that I was okay with him biting me because he didn't want me to come.
Dude, this is crazy, but I could kind of agree with this. HTTP said he's excusing you could say the regular word. HTTP said he's excusing sexual abuse the same way that enmeshed mothers excuse their creepy sons' behaviors. The first argument was literally boys will be boys. That's wild.
Back later flag. And he wanted to make sure that I was okay with him biting me because he didn't want me to come back later and say that he abused me, which I thought was really weird considering he had never hurt me before. And so why would I call it abuse? And why was he thinking about that? And I thought he was being sweet, checking on me to make sure that I was still comfortable. But of course I was, because he hadn't hurt me. And why would I think he ever would?
This is Shelby, a snippet of her telling her story. I feel like I can just tell by her tone. I just believe this so much. She kind of has a similar mechanism that I have sometimes when I finally realize the person's a piece of shit. And it took me a long time, but I have this energy of like, I can't believe this is real, but I can tell you about it because I know that it's real. But like, this is crazy to me that this actually happened. To me, I kind of sense that same energy in her, and maybe some of you guys have that sometimes too, but like, I just feel like everything she's saying is so authentic.
It's because he hadn't hurt me.
Like the disbelief
and why
in
would
her
I think
eyes.
he ever would? And then he did for the first time by accident. And I don't specifically remember the actual first time that he bit me too hard by accident because I didn't think that it would be significant. I thought that it would only happen once. And he started biting me more and more over a period of time, sort of throughout the whole relationship. And accidents of him biting too hard and really hurting me happened more and more frequently. But he always seemed genuinely sorry. And he decided that he didn't want to keep accidentally hurting me. So we were going to use a safe word so he could learn where my limit was. I didn't like it, and I tried telling him over and over again because he wasn't actually trying at all to not hurt me. But he said he would try at first. And then he started saying things like it was my pain tolerance that was too low. Or I'm exaggerating how much it actually hurts. He's not even biting that hard. I'm being dramatic.
Nah, the fetishy bite people, they will sink right through the skin. They will sink right through it. Somebody else's fetish is not your responsibility to comply with or feel empathetic for. If you are not a match, you are not a match. And that's okay. You don't have to bend to their fetish at all.
But his biting escalated to a point where I was covered in bruises all over my arms. And they hurt. And he would poke at them for fun. And he even felt so comfortable showing off my bruises that he had caused to our friends.
It's crazy because she's talking about the physical manifestation of what some people do internally to their partners and domestically abuse them. Sometimes for lack of a better term, the bruises are more internal, but the guy will still enjoy poking the bruise that he made. And then he will enjoy highlighting the bruise in front of friends. She's talking about a cycle of abuse that literally happens quite often internally with men and women, but he created a physical manifestation of it that physically hurt. It's wild.
Friends, because he would bite me so hard by accident. By accident, he would even joke that it looked like he abused me. And eventually he did acknowledge how bad it looked that I was covered in bruises all the time.
He was bragging to himself.
Biting my arms as often, and he started biting my legs instead. And it was in the last couple of months of the relationship that every time he bit me, it was until I needed to use this safe word. It had become his benchmark for when to stop.
Now, I understand that we've already seen this clip, but I do feel like it is something that Tyler himself seems to have not seen, or at least is just willingly ignoring. Because in both of those two clips that we just went through, Shelby speaks about how the safe word was formed, and that came from Wilbur accidentally hurting her. And in my opinion, and I do need to say, that this whole video is my opinion for legal reasons, and there has been no convictions made, but I just need to say that. But yes, it does seem that that safe word was weaponized and used to push the barriers as far as possible. But Tyler willingly ignores ignores all of this and all of the context in the entire situation. But the most important thing here is the fact that Wilbur himself apologized for causing pain and claimed that he wanted to validate Shelby's feelings.
That's crazy. Imagine being an apologist for somebody that actually apologized and admitted to the thing that they did.
So what are we doing here? Why
What
are
are
we
we
even
doing?
defending the actions when Wilbur himself has put out an apology? Now, obviously, that apology was deliberately vague in my humble opinion, because whilst he claims that yes, he does think that what took place between him and Shelby was consensual, he also states, while I may perceive our interactions differently, I recognize that this person has processed and expressed feelings of hurt, and I want to extend my sincerest apologies for any pain that I caused. Why would he say that if these things weren't true? I think he was trying to play both sides here to limit as much outrage as possible, but all it does come off as, in my opinion, is very PR driven and still an apology to Shelby.
And whether it's just a poor communication or lack thereof, both parties are responsible for that. Because a lack of communication or poor communication on either side is not by default malicious.
He made this video because he wanted attention from Wilbur. He said, please, Wilbur, love me.
And at the end of the day, when no assault took place, and the end result is just a bad relationship, that is something you handle in private, like adults. And to air personal, adult dirty laundry to a very large, very young audience in a way that is incredibly vague.
You know what's crazy? It wasn't just assault. It was battery. She was battered. She was physically hurt, harmed, and attacked. He just wanted attention from Wilbur.
And left open to interpretation.
I don't think any of the stuff that Shelby said was vague or left open for interpretation. In fact, this is one of the most documented stories on the internet in the last few years. The Shelby and Wilbur story went viral because of the amount of information that there was. In fact, a big reason that you've complained about this story and how Shelby handled it was that she actually gave too many details in speaking about the, filthy environment that Wilbur chose to live in and the paying of certain things. You've just complained about that, but now it's a problem that it's vague. That doesn't make any sense. You've said that there's too much detail, but also not enough detail. It's very confusing the point you're trying to make here.
And left open to interpretation is, at the end of the day, very dishonest and very irresponsible. And that is made evident by the resulting response, where Wilbur Soot met Shovel where she was at, gave a very direct and validating response that responded to what was said, addressed what was said, validated what was said, and gave evidence that he was making moves to be better.
Firstly, he didn't give any evidence to support the fact that he had been changing or doing things to become a better person. Now, obviously, that is a very difficult thing to prove, but I think this immediately shows this person's bias in that they have said that Wilbur's own just words are his form of evidence. But when Shelby says what she says, that's not evidence, that's just gossip that should just be said behind closed doors. And it very much indicates to us that this person is going to do anything to defend Wilbur. Now, Tyler may counter what I just said here with saying, well, Shelby just gave her words in the story, and you're calling me biased for believing Wilbur's words. The difference is, well, Wilbur has apologized for these things. And also, there was tons of evidence out there linking what Shelby said to be a fact. There were former friends that spoke about Wilbur's biting habits, and there was a lot of evidence based on previous clips and previous live streams speaking about Wilbur's filthy lifestyle and just in general, Wilbur's
filthy lifestyle. It's a crazy
habits. I don't necessarily think it's bias to link all of these things together and side with Shelby, but just taking one singular text apology and meaning that proves everything is genuinely biased and pretty insane.
And when that mature adult response was received by a very angry young
the whole
audience,
video's 2020 Twitch.
It was received.
Okay, hold on.
That proves everything side with Shelby, biased and pretty insane.
And when that mature adult response was received by a very angry young audience, it was received as an admission of guilt and seen as validation for the wildly exaggerated rumors that came from leaving that sort of thing open to interpretation. And now, every mention of his name, his band, his career, anyone that has anything to do with him, is met with such vitriolic hatred
that I see. He wants attention from Wilbur, but he also wants people to stop criticizing him for being horny over Wilbur.
There's no room for anyone to improve anything at all.
Now, this is something that I find very interesting. He's basically acting like Lovejoy but cancelled here, but I feel like most people just made up their own opinions for themselves and decided, hey, I don't want to support this band anymore, I don't want to support this artist anymore, and I'm going to go do something better with my life. You, however, are just choosing to remain, which, that's your choice, but rather than just listening to the music and enjoying the music, you're now building a TikTok career of hating on this individual and basically calling them a liar and completely victim blaming them. And again, what confuses me is in this apology, you've said that Wilbur validated some of the things that shall be said. So it's like, what are you even trying to argue here? You yourself have basically admitted that Wilbur admitted to things. But also, it wasn't just a young audience turning on Wilbur. All of his ex-friends had turned on him, who all of them were grown adults. And using the idea...
Wait, is these people roasting him?
South have basically admitted that Wilbur admitted to things. But also, it wasn't just...
The majority of this whole I'm going to change this happened, but you basically made much of the apology. We'll barely say anything else, but
just a young audience turning on Wilbur.
I mostly paused because I was like, why Lil Tay jump into this?
All of his ex-friends had turned on him, who all of them were grown adults. And using the idea of these people being children or young as a way to dismiss them is, again, something a lot of people who go through these serious types of situations do, where they're like, oh, these are just kids. These are just people that don't understand the world. That is like, well, no, they clearly understand the world more than you do. Because they clearly acknowledge that somebody has admitted to something here. They've said that pain was caused, and they've seen that, and they don't want to support that anymore. How hard is that to understand? And why are you, personally, so affected by the fact that these individuals chose to get up and leave? Lovejoy can still make music, they still tour, they still make albums, so what is your issue? Well, it does just seem to come down to the fact that this person is quite obsessed with Wilbur, as we're going to continue to discover throughout this video.
And when we live in a world where we were begging everyone and everything at all times to be better than it is, that kind of response does nothing but make everyone worse. And I stand with victims. I am one. Several
That phrase, I stand with victims. I am one. But is like, hey, I hear your voice, but quiet down. Me time. Which is like very Tyler of him. Hold on. My pizza's here. Was it bussin'? It was bussin'. I didn't realize that the cheese sticks came with the marinara sauce, so I didn't need to get extra marinara sauce. Okay, I just needed a bite. I'll eat the rest later. Let's hop back into this. Well, in like 15 minutes, I might be like, guys, I need a bite. I don't like to eat on camera because, well, I mean, this is my job, and like, if you're working, like, you don't eat on, you know what I mean? I know some people are like, yeah, you can eat, like, this is my job.
As we're going to continue to discover throughout this video.
And when we live in a world where we were begging everyone and everything at all times to be better than it is, that kind of response does nothing but make everyone worse. And I stand with victims. I am one, several times over. But these sort of things have to be handled in a responsible way, because where we stand right now, with the internet being the way it is, what we've ended up creating under the guise of supporting victims is a culture that has trained children, teenagers, young adults, anyone who will listen, to be internet attack dogs for people that we don't know. And
the irony of what is happening right now.
You're allowed to be upset, you're allowed to be angry, you are totally justified in those feelings. But if you allow yourself to be blindly swept up in those feelings and the roar of the crowd around you, eventually you are going to find yourself in a situation where you are being used as a weapon by angry people who just want to see other people burn.
This individual is saying that they stand by victims and they want people to be uplifted and to speak up about their stories, whilst also saying that Shelby used all of her fans and children in her audience as weapons. Do you not understand how derogatory that statement is? Do you not understand how cruel and victim blamey that statement is? You can't get on here and say that you stand by victims, but because your favorite artist is now being accused of something, immediately, oh, actually, no, I don't think we should talk about these things anymore. I don't think the internet should discuss these things anymore. It seems very coincidental that you've always been about abuse until it affects your favorite content creator. And look, you can demean these child audiences all you want, but they've seemingly handled this situation a lot better than you have.
And I'm not saying you should support Will. I'm not saying you should continue listening to Lovejoy just because there's no evidence on either side.
Then what are you saying? If you truly believe that there's no evidence and nothing actually took place here, then why are you saying, well, I don't think you should continue supporting? Well, why? If you think he's innocent, surely double down on this. What he's trying to do here is weird.
I hate that I never has to argue with the audience in all of his responses. I can hear it. I feel like sometimes when I'm doing videos, I give like a few disclaimers, but like, you guys are all pretty nice. You guys are pretty nice to me. Intermission, story time. I actually thought this was so funny. So the last video that I put up, this ends at a good place, but just let it get tense for a second. The last video that I put up about Tyler Catastrophe, a couple of people commented because there was a comment I made. I like saw the timestamp and I was like, oh, what is this timestamp? And it was me saying, I think things are better now for trans people than they've ever been. And I thought about it and I was like, well, what did I mean by that? I was like, I do think that. Just walk with me for a second, okay? So then I started getting like a couple more comments. This is the mind of a content creator when they're getting like a bit of backlash. I'm giving my raw dog response. So I started seeing a couple more, and I don't really read comments that much, but like there's an uptick. And so I'm like, I was like, but I do think that. And then one person left a comment, and they explained it very nicely in a different way. They were like, well, BOZE, things were better like 3 years ago or so, or like, I don't know, they said something during like the Obama administration or something. And I was like, yeah, when we were talking about trans rights and we were like making some changes and more people were aware of the pain that trans people go through. And the guy was like, yeah. But now under the new administration, it feels like all the progress we made rolled back. And I was like, yeah, I do agree with that. And I was like, oh, by my statement alone, you thought I was comparing it to like 20 years ago in general, that like I thought things were a bit better. And this person, because when you're like, when you're in the group, like you're really in the zone of things, you're a little more up to date on the temperature of things. And like, y'all gotta remember, like I'm over here on the side that like, I'm like, yes, what y'all need? Cool, yeah, I'll be there. Great. Like I'm like over there, but like I'm listening, I'm watching and whatnot. But like when you're in the circle, you feel the temperature a little bit more. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, yes, I actually do agree with this. Things are not great right now, but 3 years ago when we were talking about it, it was. But that's what I meant. And they were like, oh, okay, I thought that's what you meant. I just wanted to clarify. And I was like, I'm so happy we clarified. That was because I didn't understand it. And I was like, well, do I just double down on what I think and like explain? But then when I figured out what the disconnect was, I don't know how to explain it. That was actually quite a powerful moment for me, like as a, like, you know, person that does what I do. It made me realize like some people can't articulate what they're feeling and it will just come off as frustration. Like, I can't believe you said that. But sometimes there will be a person, a good like spokesperson or something that's like, let me break it down like a little bit more. And then if you're on the other end and you're open to it, if you can see what the disconnect is, you can say, oh, okay, so we agree here, we agree here, we agree here, we agree here. And then wait, this little flap is a little bit off. Let's talk about it, you know? That, I don't know how to explain it, but that was very exciting. That was like not exciting, but I liked that. I liked that like we talked about it. And then it was like, oh. And then a couple of other you guys in the comments that were Mega Warriors. I saw some people that read that thread and then dispersed it to the other people that felt that way about the comment, which I totally get. But I thought, yeah, Mez, it was like a pleasant surprise. I did enjoy talking about that. Oh, and sorry, I missed some chatters, but I hope everybody was quite nice. Please, thank you. I don't know if you guys realize that. I don't like when you fight. It is one of my least favorite things. I don't care if somebody's upset with me or, you know, is throwing tomatoes at me. That's fine. That's totally fine. It makes me very sad when you guys start fighting with each other, like in my comments or in videos and stuff like that, because I hate that so much. So yeah, anytime we're all synced, I love that. You know, I think in general, it's just nice to have communication and like trust, like in an internet conversation, because nobody has that. But there was the baseline of like, hey, I don't think you meant it this way. Let me explain. And it's me being like, oh my God, I did not mean it that way. Thank you for explaining. And that part is nice. Okay, back to this. No, I hate when my kids fight. I don't be with that.
And nothing actually took place here. Then why are you saying, well, I don't think you should continue supporting? Well, why? If you think he's innocent, surely double down on this. What he's trying to do here is weirdly play two sides, but it's like you're calling someone a liar and saying they weaponized children against somebody to basically destroy an individual. That is sick and cruel. You can't play a middle ground while saying these things.
I am saying that it is not your responsibility to be judge, jury, and executioner for people you don't know in situations that you don't understand. Because none of us have all of the information. In fact, in this instance, there was very little information to go on.
You literally have complained in this video about the amount of information that Shelby gave in regards to their entire relationship. What?
Oh, wait.
In fact, in this instance, there was very little information to go on.
You literally have complained in this video about the amount of information that Shelby gave in regards to their entire relationship. What is your point here? Are you mad about all of the information given, or do you want there to be less information or more? I don't really get. And it does just seem that this person is very confused, and I think that does just come
Wait, hold on. Here's one more that I just really like. Ferdio said, as a trans person, I got a little confused by what you said in the video, but I'm so glad that it got explained. They got explained to you. Love you, queen. I love that you were unsure about something, but you didn't say, I have to cut this arm off and run away and I hate this person forever. And now everything this creator does is the counter of my landscape so I can further define my identity. Instead, you said, I don't know what BOZE meant by that. I didn't like that. But the streams today, I'll be back. You gave me a second chance. You trusted the bond and you gave me a second chance. I like that. Sorry, lately I'm just very into humans being nice to each other. Half of Sunday I was just in bed crying, watching videos of people being nice. Like the one that really got me was when this guy's legs gave out in a marathon, and then everyone kept running past him, and then two people stopped and they like ran over their marathon time just to help him and go. I was like, I'm crying. Anyways, I would like everyone to be nicer to each other. Okay, sorry, back to this.
Point here. Are you mad about all of the information given, or do you want there to be less information or more? I don't really get. And it does just seem that this person is very confused, and I think that does just come down to the fact that this person is desperate to keep on being a fan of Wilbur and to keep on obsessing over Wilbur without facing any form of judgment.
And at the end of the day, ruining someone's life, someone's career, the careers and lives of everyone around them, for the crime of what is ultimately being a bad boyfriend, is not something that is your job to do. These are adults in their 20s and 30s who are still in the f***ing up and learning from it stages of life, and above all else, they are people, and they are going to f*** up 1,000 times over. But the important part is that they learn from it, and if you do not allow them to do so, you only encourage them to be worse. Because
this is great advice that he's just not taking in for himself at all. Rules for thee? And not for me.
I have seen the absolute worst that life has to offer time and time and time again, and I can tell you from experience that the only way things get better is if you let people change. So while I encourage you to take a step back, feel your own feelings, and make your own decisions, I'm also going to encourage you to approach things like this with compassion. Because when it comes to situations where there's no assault, there's no crime being committed, after all said and done, you have to let people be people. And if you're watching this and you're a young adult, you're a teenager, you're a child, then I applaud your willingness to be the change you want to see, but it is not your responsibility to hold adults accountable.
Oh, brother.
Adults are not people you know personally.
Bunhead, oh, brother is
right. The best you can with what you know, but this isn't your fight. And I know that you personally probably have way too much to deal with already.
Why do I feel like this is like a school counselor speaking to me in the most condescending manner possible? You know
what this is? What's really fucked up about this is Tyler is actually making some points that are valid in certain situations, but he's applying them to a situation where they're not valid, and it just benefits him. People will take rhetoric from things and apply it to a lane that they want it to work in. And that's so peculiar.
Adults just like ignore anything a child will say, even if the child is saying logical things. They'll be like, no, I'm the adult, I'm right here. It's like, no, shut the f up, I'm also an adult, and I can actually see that you're completely chatting complete utter nonsense. Children can give judgment if they want to give judgment. Children can see something and they can acknowledge that that thing is bad, and it's very clear that that has happened. But also, the argument being made here is incredibly manipulative. This wasn't just a child thing. I've seen grown adults, a lot of adults, turn on Wilbur, and in fact, that audience from 2020 have now become adults and realize, or not just realize, but at the time they also did realize, but they just, collectively agree that, yeah, they don't want to support this individual anymore. And the only reason that he's calling the people who are mad children is because it is a very easy tactic to get people to ignore the actual valid criticism. And of course, this TikTok went down absolutely terribly, and at the time of when it came out, it didn't really do the rounds, but in
also, comment here from Tactical Side Boob, great username, said it's also implying everyone who feels differently than he is a child.
2025, it randomly got in the TikTok algorithm and it caused a lot of people to see it and a lot of people to comment criticism. For example, this individual here states, I didn't experience it this way, so no one can. Genius thought process, mates. And I think that's a perfect summary of what's going on here with Tyler Catastrophe. Just because you personally had a different experience with something in your own personal situation, that doesn't mean you can cast judgment on somebody who had their own personal situation. I find it very ironic that Tyler loves to do this thing where he claims that we shouldn't judge people and we should allow people to grow and change and become better people. Firstly, why does a person need to grow and change if you believe that they haven't done anything wrong? But secondly, you have just made a 6-minute long TikTok casting judgment on an entire community of individuals.
Why did he think that was going to work?
Anyone who's judgmental.
Did he think that was going to work? Is that part of the delusion? Thinking things are totally going to work that are definitely not going to work? Yeah, I think that could be part of delusional thinking.
In this situation, it's you, and his fake little kind nice thing that he does is so disgustingly condescending that it genuinely just irritates me. The thing is it didn't end there with the defense of Wilbur Soot. In fact, this was just the beginning, because after that, Tyler then doubled down in another video claiming that people need to give other individuals the opportunity to change.
Better on an individual level, because at that point it's not about holding people accountable, it's about you getting to be a dick. The video this comment is on is about how I do not think that Wilbur Soot is an abuser, and it took a lot for me to post it. I had to think a lot about how to say what I wanted to say, and I was really worried that it would be taken the wrong way, but so far the comments have been super understanding.
Doesn't he have the same hairstyle as Wilbur Soot right now? Didn't he do his hair like... If I'm wrong, this is hilarious, but I swear to God that kid had a hairstyle like this or something. Oh, okay, yeah.
And I am so grateful for that. But since posting that video, I've seen so many reasons that I needed to post it in the first place. Because how long are we as people going to sit in this place where we treat every mistake as if it makes us irredeemable? And sure, people should face consequences for their actions, but if those consequences are not put in place as a lesson to be better and learn from those actions in the future, then those aren't consequences, those are punishment. And no one learns from punishment.
I'm very confused because he's just made a 6-minute TikTok about how he thinks that Wilbur isn't an abuser. And now he's saying, well, people should face consequences, but they should also be allowed to grow and change.
Yo, punishment to correct behavior does work. How do I say this? Let me think. Sometimes children that didn't like punishment, that was part of a structured upbringing, will resent punishment so much that they will go on to use punishment as a form of fun. They will deliver a punishment, but really they'll deliver a punishment at any chance that they can get because they're salivating at the other person's response to the punishment. It's like the punishment, like I said, his dad seemed like that type, like inflict terror, inflict a punishment, extract emotion. It's a thing.
Actually think anyone's... Now he's saying, well, people should face consequences, but they should also be allowed to grow and change. I don't actually think anyone's saying that Wilbur can't grow and change and hopefully become a better individual, but that doesn't mean people need to miraculously come back to his community and suddenly become a Lovejoy fan again and buy all the merchandise and, oh, let's get him back on the Dream SMP. It's like, no, that's not how it works with forgiveness and change. I think a lot of people out there seem to think that...
Liam said born trolls. Yes, some people are born trolls. And you know what? I've always said before that I have court jester humor. For me personally, I love dumb jokes. Like I love a light prank that's an actual prank. Like my idea of a light prank is, y'all remember that TikTok trend where the girls were calling their dad and saying, oh my God, I accidentally put diesel in my car. And the dads would freak out. Like, to me, that is a fun little court jester prank. Or what's another one? Oh, sometimes I would leave little secret messages at my job that didn't make any sense. Like never like vulgar or like up. I would like put them in strange places where like when you close down the station for the night and you flip something over, you would get my message. And I was like, ha 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 ha. Is my evil plan working? But there's that type of kind of jestery personality. But the other side, think of it as like there's, you know, what is it? Evil, there's evil, neutral, and good, right? I would consider my court jesterism. I won't say it's good. I'd like to think that it was neutral, and they're scared, and they're like, oh my God, one of her notes is gonna come up again, or she's gonna do another joke. I would love to believe that my pranks are very scary and terrifying, but no, but they're not. But like, the people that are like legitimately evil, like they love doing that. They love it. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all know it. Chaotic good. That's what I would like to be. Yes. Yes. One dumb little fact about me is I love playing like little tiny pranks on my friends or like making a joke, but I can't, if the joke requires me to like lie about something, I can only do it for like 30 seconds. Like I'll send a text and I'll like fire off the lie. And then like in my head, every single second that the lie stays, it's like a boiling point. And I'm like, I need to tell them. And then I'll tell them after like 30 seconds. I'm like, I got you. I think I'm also a born troll, but I don't think I do any mean trolling. But there's born trolls, right? So you got to figure out if you're dealing with a good troll or a bad troll. I'm an evil troll. I'm not really an evil troll. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to think of myself like Vigar. And everyone will suffer. I'm just kidding. I love the little tiny villain character trope. That's one of my favorites. Like Mojo Jojo or Vigar.
And suddenly become a Lovejoy fan again and buy.
Oh, yes. Okay, somebody said it. Ramekin said, you find no sadistic thrill. Oh, absolutely. I think it's they have to also think it's funny at the end of it. Oh, that's another thing. I only would like play a joke on a friend that like directly pertains to their personality or they would find funny on the other end. That is the important part. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you, chatter. Appreciate you. Yes, that is true. Okay, sorry.
Change. I don't actually think anyone's saying that Wilbur can't grow and change and hopefully become a better individual, but that doesn't mean people need to miraculously come back to his community and suddenly become a Lovejoy fan again and buy all the merchandise and, oh, let's get him back on the Dream SMP. It's like, no, that's not how it works with forgiveness and change. I think a lot of people out there seem to think that forgiveness is like this thing where immediately everything goes back to being the way it was before, or when you start to make strides to change your life in a better way, everyone around you needs to just forget what you did. That's not how forgiveness and changing works. Unfortunately, even if you've become a better person, changed, people are still going to remember what you did, and that is just a consequence of your own actions. That is just another part of the learning and growing and changing phase. Now, of course, this person isn't Wilbur saying these things, but I think a lot of people out there seem to forget that the biggest part of the growing and changing process is accepting that some people, or a lot of people, may never see you in the same way that they saw you previously. Unfortunately, though, a lot of people can't handle that and get very angry. And sometimes you get third parties like this who get angry for the sake of other individuals like Wilbur.
Day in and day out, you hear, oh, people don't change, people never change, but they do. Every day, everything changes. Change is the closest thing we have to a universal constant. But the most important part of that puzzle is that you have to let people change. You have to acknowledge the ability to change. You have to acknowledge the change in itself. Are they really incapable of changing, or are you just not letting them? Have they really never changed, or are you just not acknowledging that they already have? Because if you're going to call someone out for their behavior, you have to be willing to let them change the behavior. Because if you don't, you may as well just admit to yourself and everyone around you that you're not interested in people being better. You just want to watch more people burn. And I know someone's going to call me a stupid optimist again, but nihilism is a cancer, and all it ever does is ensure that nothing ever gets better. And if you want to see a better world than the one that we have right now, you have to acknowledge and allow people to...
First of all, nihilism saved my life, okay? I grew up listening to a lot of nihilistic music. Finally, connection with people that are like, just misanthropy, pain, suffering. Also, you know what I realized the other day? I listened to a lot of hardcore music when I was younger, and hardcore music is really just men in pain being vulnerable, which is hilarious. It's hidden in the lyrics and the screams. I'm like, wait, you're sad.
be better on an individual level, because at that point it's not about holding people accountable, it's about you getting to be
I mean, Wilbur Soot is out there. He makes music still. He still is relatively popular, and he has a successful music career, even if it is significantly smaller than it once was. So yeah, I don't really get your point. Wilbur has been allowed to grow and change, and Wilbur also still does have...
For you guys that don't know, nihilism is technically considered a philosophical school of thought, but it's not like you go in and you pick your school of thought. A lot of times this one can be handed to you. And nihilism, it basically sounds like nothing matters, like I just want to die, everything, burn it all down, kill it all down. It's like everything, when it's going bad, you just shoot through the floor and go straight to the center of the earth, okay? And part of the reason why this is caused is if you have an extreme moral shift in your life that happens when you're a child, one of the most common ones here. You know, I theorize that Mr. Trent Reznor is a bit of a nihilist, and you can see it in some of the religious iconography in his music. But anywho, one of the most common ones I see with nihilism is a kid that was raised religious. I experienced this, extremely religious. You're taught about God, heaven, everything above, and then something traumatic or dramatic happens, and in your world, you find out or you decide that God isn't real. Or another version of this could be as simple as somebody being adopted and finding out at a very difficult time. anything that morally takes your world and flips it upside down abruptly can cause extreme nihilistic thinking. This is also interesting because if you're a person that ends up developing extreme nihilistic thinking, sometimes you will gravitate towards other people that are nihilists, but some nihilists are self-destructive or externally destructive by nature because they truly think nothing matters. But some people are like baby nihilists. I consider myself a baby nihilist. Does that kind of make sense? Sorry, I've never explained that one before. Juanita said, okay, I got it now. Very understandable. Oh, and then someone said no. Nihilistic thinking is like, once you know what it is, you'll notice friends and family or people you've dated that like have it. They literally think nothing matters. I don't matter. And some people go the route of thinking, so who cares? Do what you want. Or some people just stop at nothing matters and I don't matter. That's nihilistic thinking. And that affects your philosophical worldview of everything.
So relatively popular, and he has a successful music career, even if it is significantly smaller than it once was. So yeah, I don't really get your point. Wilbur has been allowed to grow and change, and Wilbur also still does have somewhat, as I mentioned earlier, of a smaller audience, which you clearly are the chief and leader of. But yeah, of course, this response also went down absolutely terribly with the community, but at the same time, there were some people being understanding. Because some people gave the counter of, people do change from punishment. Operant conditioning demonstrates that positive and negative punishments can work better than positive and negative reinforcements. And yeah, that is something that definitely can be debated, but what can't be debated is this person's obsession with Wilbur Soot, because these TikToks that I've shown you are very much the beginning of a trend of TikToks that Tyler got into, of where he seemingly comes after people like Shelby, defends Wilbur, and it very much did start to go viral more and more, because naturally a lot of people were enraged that this guy was consistently defending somebody who for the large majority is considered an abuser. But at this point, in fairness to Tyler, he has built a very successful career on the side of making these Wilbur defenses.
Luxitine said, I think you're glossing over it a bit much. Nihilism is around the lack of inherent meaning of life, not that everything is meaningless. To me, those two are interchangeable. Just take me out. But if the difference like registers for anybody, I think that could be something to factor in.
But of course, that isn't Tyler. He has built a very successful career on the side of making these Wilbur defenses. And of course, that isn't just in relation to speaking about Wilbur Soot. He also became known for making jewelry, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video. And it was very clear that he was establishing a bit of a dedicated audience for himself, which, you know, understandably for when you were out there, that was pretty crazy. But it does just show, and honestly counters his point a little, that there is always going to be an audience for someone no matter what you do. Such as making TikToks like this.
I'm going to say something very important, and then I'm going to follow it with however. And I know the second I say that word, a lot of people are going to tune me out, but I'm asking you so nicely to keep listening.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Believe victims, believe survivors.
Okay, great. I mean, yeah, I completely agree with...
However.
Oh, I know I said I would listen to him, but yeah. It's going to be another TikTok from this guy, basically just saying that you shouldn't listen to victims or something. He's very confused about his beliefs.
Okay, I want to skip ahead. Does, what's his face ever respond?
There's one thing my more there are.
I'm like hooked because iNever's pacing is really good, but I kind of want to. I'm sorry, this comment here says my worst fear is having this little self-awareness. Next.
Barrage of criticism. And again, it does beg the question of why is he doing this? Is it because he's in a parasocial relationship with Wilbur? Is it because, you know, he really just likes Wilbur as a person? Or there is another question here. Is he trying to join Lovejoy, the band that Wilbur runs? Now, that might sound a little bit crazy, but as we established in the facts earlier, this person very much loves Lovejoy, and a little TikTok started to go viral in 2026 of where seemingly this person did an audition to be the second vocalist in Lovejoy.
He couldn't even say that one, bro.
It's going to be an experience that me and you are going to go through together. Let's hear this person's beautiful singing voice.
I've already seen this one because of the previous Tyler video, but let me just let it play for a second for you guys that didn't.
But I do know I am crazy enough to ask. So hi, Lovejoy. Do you want a second vocalist?
Oh, and then while I let this play, I have this pizza over here, so I'm just gonna take a couple bites and let it play, and then I'm also just gonna take my headphones off. So this is a little.
My name is Tyler Salona.
This is
I'm
for y'all.
26 years old. I live in Texas, but I'm trying to move to England anyway. I'm a massive extrovert. I've been performing since I was 10, and in 2019, I was actually a semi-professional vocalist, but then had to spend almost 5 years getting my voice back after losing it completely because someone hit me with their car. Through the sheer force of audacious determination, I now have my voice back and my vocal stamina, which basically means that now that I can go back to music, not doing so makes everything else feel unfulfilling and sad. I figured I might as well shoot my shot. And I also play the trumpet, which is probably helpful. Anyway, here's Portrait of a Blank Slate.
Okay, I'm really excited to hear this stuff.
Whole thing.
I don't need the dancing. I don't need this. There's a lot of things that I could be doing. It's 1 a.m. right now. I could be asleep. I could be playing a video game. I could be watching a movie, reading a book, anything, eating a burger, something different, you know. But what I don't want to be doing is watching whatever this is. Sorry, I'm being mean. Let's get to the singing.
Anyway, he told me that much and now he's dead. Told me to kill my indulgences with a sharp blow to the temple. Pick up the phone, call and do everything he says. I could take a plastic camera.
Pause that. I think that truck did permanent damage. I'm not trying to be mean. Like, as an artist, you need to accept criticism. And my criticism is, this does feel like I'm witnessing somebody at a karaoke show after one too many Stellas. And you say you love Britain, you love the English culture. Well, it's clear to me you have had one too many Stellas. You've drunk it. You've had a few pints of beer, and now you've gone to karaoke and you're giving your best Lovejoy impression. And look, you know,
dude, this fool is cracking me up today. I don't normally laugh at I Never videos. This has been cracking me. I hope I make you guys laugh in videos too. This is so delightful.
If I was at karaoke, I wouldn't sing along with you. I'd say, why is that weirdo here? But I would say, I wouldn't say anything, to be honest.
Oh, sorry.
But, you know, it would be a scenario that I'm not really that, you know, surprised by. But what I would be surprised by is you actually genuinely trying to attempt to join a band with this voice. Like, I'm not trying to be rude. It's just not great.
You can make such a pretty picture. Oh, so happy. Oh, so happy. I'm pretty cool once you get to know me. I feel at some point I broke my mind. I'm always searching the silent type. How do you all make it look so easy? You open your hearts up so quickly it scares me.
Yeah, I'm sorry, there's something about singing when it's not great, and I was genuinely expecting something. We got the whole sub story. We got like, oh, my lungs blew out, I got hit by a truck, and it was really bad. I'm sure it was awful. I'm not knocking that, but you know, I thought we were gonna get something. You know, it's like when you see like footballers come back from like an ACL injury, and they've took the world by storm again. They're like the best player in the world. It's like that was kind of what I was expecting. What I got was not that. This obviously it wasn't the best, and it didn't really go down well. The comments.
Did you guys enjoy that? Thank you for watching that.
Somebody said, "Holy shit, this is an original." Lovejoy in the Big 25. This video felt like an hour long, and there were a lot more mean comments that I'm not going to mention. Ooh, but yes, okay. To answer the question that I had earlier of, is this person trying to obsess over Wilbur because they want to join Lovejoy? I don't exactly think that's the case. There is a lot more of a real...
For the person that said that they feel deeply uncomfortable watching Tyler, or you know what? I feel like this concept can also be attributed to true crime, which is interesting. Here we go. This is from one of my books, Man Unfolding. Kind of a banger. This shit says, many of the facts of biology suggest models which might help us develop a more reasonable and realistic view of ourselves and our fellow man. That is important to create a realistic view of ourselves and our fellow man. Then it says, seeing ourselves in historical and dynamic perspectives might serve as a basis for a common understanding that could reduce the destructive tendency of man towards man and of man towards himself. So, all of that to say, I can't believe I found a book that literally says what I have been saying in Sinister this whole time. Sinister, my channel, these things that I show you, body cams and whatnot, it is so that we can look at these things and take a look at ourselves and the people around us and find out, are you on the path of becoming sinister? No, but figure out if you're about to be a piece of shit or not, okay? So evaluating people in a historical context, and quite frankly, other than me saying the necklaces are hideous, they are. They're ugly. Other than that, you have to think about the fact that like he's not being mean in this video at all. I don't know how many I've been. You have to decide. So listen, I was off duty as host today. I was just watching a show with you and I'm feeling a little goofy and the necklaces are ugly. I don't understand. Question for you. Do you believe that watching things like this in a context of learning for the greater good of everybody else is essentially worth it? Especially if people are putting this online or for display. You know what I mean? Like, I really genuinely fully believe this. The person that doesn't consume content about other people because their morality or empathy is so high, and the person that has morality and empathy but still wants to learn about the world around us through extreme and distinct personalities, this person's making it farther, okay? This person's understanding life. This person's going far. This guy is staying right there in that little morality, empathy, pity puddle pool, okay? You can be moral and empathetic and still understand everything around you. Oh, Trippy said, I'm not being dramatic when I say that watching and learning from true crime shows saved my life. Honestly, me too. I think that's why I do like what I do. I think that it's really important, and I'm not gonna, I know, I don't want to bust out the DSM and just read that all day. I want to see with my own eyes, and I think you do too. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, BOZE first of all. I think we're about to hit like 1.5 million subscribers. This is pretty high. This is good. Hit the button. Bye.
Question that I had. There were a lot more mean comments that I'm not going to mention, but yes, to answer the question that I had earlier of, is this person trying to obsess over Wilbur because they want to join Lovejoy? I don't exactly think that's the case. There is a lot more of a realistic answer that we'll get to later on. But do I think this audition will actually help them?
Yeah, okay. Sorry. One last thing too. Psychology by nature is the aggregation of information and the study of that information. Pattern recognition and intuition are like a special ability you have and your life experiences. In order to truly assess people, you must collect information and data, okay? So we're constantly doing that in the world around us. Many of you with crazy families are doing that in your own very home. I'm so sorry. It gets better. It gets better. But yeah, the more data that you ingest, the better your pattern recognition is going to be.
Lot more of a realistic answer that we'll get to later on. But do I think this audition will actually help them join Lovejoy? No. No, I don't think they're going to be joining Lovejoy anytime soon. But alas, let's continue on with the lore of this superfan. Because with the continuous virality of him being known as the Wilbur Soot stan fan, whatever you want to call Tyler, it definitely was getting to a point of where so many people were seeing this person over the last year of 2025 to 2026. And of course, that led to more and more people seeing the TikToks about Shelby and Wilbur, and it led to more and more criticism, which again prompted Tyler to jumping onto TikTok to defend Wilbur, whilst also levying, what, in my opinion, false accusations, ironically enough.
Let's talk Lovejoy, because I got shit to say. My last video is kind of popping up, mostly because people are sending it to each other to laugh at me, which is fine by me. Thank you for the views. But it's me doing a silly little audition in my bathroom for a band that probably doesn't even want a second vocalist, but I'm a bold mother, and embarrassing myself in the right direction is kind of my thing. And full disclosure for people who don't know, the lead singer of that band does have abuse allegations. However, one, the person making those accusations has a history of making false allegations. Do we not remember Parker?
Now this person says, do we not remember Parker?
Yo,
and that really confuses me.
that's
because something
crazy.
that Tyler has stated that we will get into later on is they did discover Wilbur in 2019. And the false rumors of Parker that they're talking about here is something that comes from around 2016 to 2017 when Shelby was dating somebody called Parker. Now I did my best to look into this, and I have heard about this rumor before that Shelby has leveled false accusations against other previous partners. And from what I can see, is this actually seems to be a bit of a misinformation campaign to discredit Shelby in her accusations against Wilbur. You see,
Do you believe that Minecraft stans would try to discredit a woman that makes Minecraft videos and dated somebody in the circle? You tell me. And then you guys said, I don't know, but you're gonna have a hard life.
Tweets right here. I searched about this and was doing research, and basically there were multiple tweets about it, and every single tweet that I could find had no evidence to suggest that any of this was true, and most of the tweets were just denying any of this is real, and basically stating that Shelby did not levy any false accusations or any accusations in general against this Parker person. I even found a Wilbur stan, ironically enough, saying that she deleted this accusation out of shame, but then people from the era of 2016 to 2017, from when it supposedly took place, came to the defense of Shelby, stating,
dude, people literally just make stuff up all the time. I saw this comment a while ago. I don't even know where I saw it. It was on something another true crime thing. And somebody had said like, oh, I love BOZE versus the world, XYZ. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. And the next comment underneath it was like, I don't like how she's always peddling BetterHelp sponsorships. I was like, when have I ever promoted BetterHelp? I was like, what? We just say no. So anyways, that's my personal experience. It's been quite recent that I'm just like, what do you do? What, people just make stuff up and then they go online and say it with conviction. And then you, when you're trying to look into something or investigate it, you take people at face value because you wouldn't just go online and lie. Oh my God.
That this never happened. And again, I'm welcome to being, brought information about this, but from what I can see, there really seems to be no actual history there. I did my best looking into this, but there really is nothing.
I bet you there is nothing.
Tyler, based on my information, is just outright lying about this and using this as a way to discredit Shelby, which again is just flat out disgusting. It's dishonest and it's just grim victim blaming. Now after this, he does just go through the same things that he's gone through previously that we don't really need to take a look at right now. But yeah, it was clear that even with a wave of new people coming to his page, he was going to double down over this. And of course, it did not go down well for him.
I have built my platform by being authentic, kind, compassionate, and honest with the people who watch me. And regardless of what I may allow people to think about me, I am not naive and I am certainly not stupid. All of my major life decisions are carefully thought out and carefully considered. If there was a single atom in my being that thought Lovejoy was actually made up of horrible people, I would not touch it with a 40-foot pole.
But you don't know. Wait, I was about to say you don't know, but the man literally has abuse allegations.
Despite we've clearly seen that they are willing to defame and lie about somebody in order to pretty much just continuously defend this content creator that they have a bit of a creepy obsession with. Personally, I'm not going to really listen to you. And what's interesting is when people are mentioned who have allegations against them like Melanie Martinez, Tyler says he absolutely does not support Melanie. But it's like confusing to me because it seems with literally every single accusation out there, this person supports them. But when it comes to Wilbur, that is when the line is drawn. And again,
no. I've had these conversations before. A lot of you guys on my YouTube channel, we probably know I covered a lot of like the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial. And look, if you watch my very first video, I was like, let me, and very quickly I was like, I'm not on her side. I just didn't take her side. Okay. That's that. And I still feel that way. I've actually had some moments. I haven't talked about this. I've had some moments over the years where, people will say a lot of things. And then I actually had an experience with a girl that I met that went through a really difficult situation. And I remember hearing everything with her. And I actually went back after hearing her experience and compared it to the Amber and Johnny Depp situation and said like, oh my God, like, did I miss something? And now that I've heard someone else's experience, will I be able to see this more clearly? And I revisited it and I felt the same way as I did like 2 or 3 years ago. But what's fascinating about this is I'll talk to people. I've had Amber Heard fans engage me in person before, and I truly don't mind having the conversation. I cannot have this conversation a million times over the internet, but like in person, yeah, I will talk to you because I don't hate you, right? But what's funny about this is when I talk to people about this, we will agree on Evan Rachel Wood. We will agree on Megan Thee Stallion. We will agree on Melanie Martinez. And then when we get to Amber Heard, it's like, kill this bitch! Kill this bitch! She's against all women! Kill her! And I'm like, guys, if anyone can ever look into that iceberg, I would love to know. I'm like, what is going on with that phenomenon? Why can't, because the Amber Heard people they're warriors, they are fighters. Why can't y'all help us out with the Megan Thee Stallion? Can we get along for a minute? It's like, dude, it's like in jail when like the different groups got to work together for a minute to like, overthrow the whole patriarchy thing. Like, hello? Can we get some unity? Is this the dividing line, bro?
Not support Melanie. But it's like confusing to me because it seems with literally every single accusation out there, this person supports them. But when it comes to Wilbur, that is when the line is drawn. And again, I think it does come down to the fact that this person is obsessed and is clearly developing or is just outright a crush, which we will get confirmation on later. But this person has gone on to make multiple TikToks about Lovejoy and wanting to join Lovejoy and how they've basically obsessed over this band and wanting to be a writer in the band. And look, based on what I've seen, I don't exactly think this would be a good addition for Lovejoy.
Lovejoy is legitimately the only band that I cannot listen to without wishing I was in the band, which is kind of strange because I'd give anything to be in just about any band. But with most boy bands that I love, I just want to be a fly on the wall during the writing process. I just want to like observe, I want to pick their brains, I just want to know how they do it. But every single time I hear a Lovejoy song, I feel like I need to roll up my sleeves and be in it. And I could just wax poetic for literal hours about why I feel that way. But I think the main thing is that every song feels like every person put an equal amount of effort. Like with a lot of bands or musicians, you can tell what they think is most important to a song. Like you can totally tell when one person does a bulk of the writing, because usually things get thrown to the wayside. A song that's written by a guitarist is probably going to slack on lyrics and such. Songs written by a lyricist is probably going to let one of the instruments down. But with Lovejoy, you can tell that every single person is writing the parts they want to play, and they seem like they're all having equal amounts of fun with the actual songs, which I like. And I feel like the only part of every song that feels less important than everything else is like the vocal melodies. And absolutely zero hate to Will Gold. He's very good at what he does, and I love listening to him sing and talk and everything else. But every time I hear a Lovejoy song, I just want to, I just want to sprinkle some good stuff in there, because vocal melodies are my thing. I can't sing a song without changing it a little bit most of the time. Just gotta make it more interesting and fun to sing. Now, every time I hear a Lovejoy song, I just want to take it, run it through my brain, and then rinse it off like I'm developing film. Not to like seriously change anything, because again, it's all great music. Just to give it that little extra bit of sparkle that I feel like some of them are missing.
the audacity of this person is genuinely crazy. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I've listened to a few Lovejoy songs before everything happened, and I genuinely thought the music was like pretty decent. And it is hilarious to see somebody with really no musical history in terms of actually producing anything of worth come on here being like, I'm gonna fix everything. I'm gonna add that little bit of sparkle. It's like, bro, we've heard your music, and like, regardless of like everything we've spoken about today, I don't think this guy's going to be adding anything significant to the band if he ever did join it.
No
but
sparkles.
Also, this is a big thing that a lot of people have been speaking about in regards to Tyler. He's a very egotistical person. He's definitely very self-centered, very self-obsessed.
Lucy in chat said, I love your music. You need my sparkle.
And look, I'm very much for like bigging yourself up and stuff, but with this person, I think it is a little bit more funny considering their obsession with Wilbur Soot. I do just think it somehow just amplifies it. You know, kind of how like any other content creator gets credited, like Onision, who we mentioned earlier. Like if Onision did something where he was like, I'm going to become a successful artist, I'd laugh at him. I'd laugh at him because that's funny to me because it's Onision. And I think this is funny because this is Tyler and we've seen what we've seen. But also another thing to point out here that you just saw in that TikTok is how Tyler uses Wilbur's name as Will Gold.
And absolutely zero hate to Will Gold.
He uses his official government name. And this is something that has drawn a lot of, not criticism, but more confusion from a lot of people out there.
Because, that's parasocial right there. Remember I said there might be a distinction between fan and parasocial? That's parasocial. That's like, you remember when Doja Cat got mad that fans were calling her by her legal first name? It implies a closer relationship than you have. And also, mind you, I said last time that Tyler is a dramatic person, and dramatic people tend to, I believe there's literally a line that says, thinks that they are closer to people than they really are.
Speculated that he says this to kind of make it look like he actually knows Wilbur. And from researching this video, I've started to call Wilbur Will. I don't know him like that. I'm not going to call him Will. I want to call him Wilbur. But the amount of time Tyler Catastrophe, when speaking about Wilbur, says Will Gold, the amount of times he says it is genuinely crazy. And I do think it comes down to the fact that he wants to almost have this personal seeming connection with Wilbur. But obviously, it does just come off as a little bit odd. Now, in terms of actually, meeting Wilbur and meeting Lovejoy, this is actually something that
we're on side tangent land. I think I have something to explain with this. Somebody said Doja was kind of right. Everyone come for me. And then someone else said it's kind of similar to Chapel Roan. Here's my theory. My theory is that Doja and Chapel are both people that are highly autonomous, really value their freedom, really value their individuality and exploring themselves. And so they create this self-expression, even though she claims that one album was nothing like her. But I think she was just mad at her label about that. Girl, you made that. Come on now. Planet Her, I think. But I think that these two they enjoy autonomy, creative freedom, and individuality. And then what happened was when they started to get famous, all of these fans attach themselves, and not in the normal way. They attach themselves to Chapel and they attach themselves to Doja. And basically, just merely through their energy, they're saying to these artists, I love you. Everything that you are right now defines me. Your character is defining who I am as an individual. So I will hang on to you. And as you continue to make artistry and music, I am going to attach myself to you. And then there's more. And they say, hey, I'm grabbing on. And what happens is the artist starts to feel this weight, the cage of people that are defining themselves based off of everything that they do. And what happens when the artist does something the person doesn't like, they say, hey, don't do that. That doesn't feel good to me. That makes me feel like you're not mine anymore. That makes me feel like I'm not me if you do that. So you have to stop doing that so that I can feel the way that I did before that you made me feel. So this starts to get very heavy for people like Chapel and Doja, and they have to shake them off. They have to shake off these people that are hanging on so tightly and weighing them down, because otherwise they can't explore themselves or have freedom to do things. And so sometimes the shake off is very, very violent. And I think that's what happened before. And then those people were very, very mad when they were shaken off and landed. Does that make sense? I know that's a long explanation. And then also, I know that there are times that I explain things very long-winded, and you guys that went to school for whatever I'm talking about, you'll be like, oh, BOZE is talking about this, and you'll say it in 2 words. I don't know that stuff. I just explain things through imagery, and I was just picturing all these people holding on to them.
It happened. Connection, genuinely crazy. And I do think it comes down to the fact that he wants to almost have this personal seeming connection with Wilbur. But obviously, it does just come off as a little bit odd. Now, in terms of actually, meeting Wilbur and meeting Lovejoy, this is actually something that did happen in November 2025 after Tyler actually managed to get hold of a VIP ticket for Lovejoy, because there was also 2,000 other tickets available.
So I met Lovejoy last night.
But yeah, Tyler goes on to claim that apparently Lovejoy instantly recognized him, and I don't exactly think that's a shock. They just need to turn their head to the board of do not let in stalker, and they'd see his face.
So I met Lovejoy last night. Mark recognized me and my roommate, which was fun. Love that guy.
Also, sorry about the slide whistles, Mark. They'll be silly, it'll be fine.
But there were also several other people from TikTok who recognized me, which is always fun. Love it when that happens.
Oh my
God! They know about the audition video. They didn't ask me to join the band, but it's fine. They seem to be doing pretty okay without me, at least.
Also, side note, the number of people who took that I'm so serious.
Yo, Tyler went to that concert picturing that at the end of the night, maybe they'll ask me to join.
As I'm so serious. Wild to me. Do you not hear my voice? Of course I didn't think they were going to actually want me to join the band. I was bored and views were low. The world was my oyster.
You've been saying, you want to be a writer, you want to have some sparkle, some cheer. You were being serious. This is like when somebody says something and they get proven wrong or just, dismantled an argument, and then they just go on to claim it was bait. It was rage bait. No, you clearly really want to join this group. Don't lie to me.
Anyway, but I mentioned that video paid my electric bill, generally the most money I've ever made from a TikTok. And Mark's response was, damn, maybe I should audition for Lovejoy. But because Will's been more mobile on stage this tour, just like moving and bouncing and twirling around, I gave him one of those straps that like connects to the back of your head so your glasses don't fall off. Like, these might be helpful, but it will not hurt my feelings if they're not. But the look on this man's face when he had to tell me that he actually broke his glasses, which I'm sorry I wasn't there several days before. This is totally on me. I'm so sorry. But Andy explained how they worked, and I usually wear contacts to shows, as I was last night. And Will was like, oh, you do shows? And there was a brief half-second of crippling sadness because, no, not anymore. Because of the whole getting hit by a car thing. Soon, someday, I will not rest until I'm a musician again. But I mentioned my titanium ribs, and Mark's response was, well, at least next time you'll bounce right off. I mean, the goal is that there won't be a next time, but you never know. Thank you, Mark. And at this point in my life, I've seen...
Okay, controversial take here. I think sometimes when people in the spectrum do that voice, and now I will do this, and ha 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 ha, I think the reason why they do that is because for some reason it feels good in their body. I say this as a neurodivergent person, okay? The challenge is not doing that because people think that it's cringe. I don't know who needs to hear this, but there are some times that we need to mask. Okay, babe? Girl, sometimes, you know what? You just gotta turn around and put that on. Put that on, babe. Lock it up. Don't let them know you're normal. Sometimes don't let them know. Hold it in. All right.
Bounce right off. I will not rest until I'm a musician again. But I mentioned my titanium ribs, and Mark's response was, well, at least next time you'll bounce right off. I mean, the goal is that there won't be a next time, but you never know. Thank you, Mark. And at this point in my life, I've seen hundreds of bands live. I'm friends with a lot of bands. I've met a lot of bands. And at some point, you realize there are some things that you really just can't fake. And Lovejoy is one of those bands that I genuinely have no issue standing by. And obviously, I've already made plenty of my opinions known at this point. But I work really hard to not say shit I don't mean, especially publicly on the internet. And there will be no retractions today. So here, have a picture. Also, Will is wonderful at selfies. Thank you for this. I always feel a little weird letting other people take the photo because I'm so used to specific angles of my face. Gee, I wonder why. But this is a good one. I like it. Anyway, this is your sign. Buy the tickets. It'll be great. Okay, love you, bye.
Oh, and then he does a promo for Lovejoy afterwards. Okay.
So yeah, it very much was a positive interaction. And look, I'm not going to really say anything negative about that. Did these things actually take place, or were they actually just happening in his mind?
Everybody recognized me.
But yes, apparently he did actually finally get to meet Lovejoy, and it was a lovely, positive experience, and they even recognized him. Probably because, again, they saw him on the wanted poster. But enough, you know, like, they saw him and they recognized him, apparently. It was a really, really good time. But what's interesting is only shortly after uploading that video, he made another video where he goes on to claim that he was watching somebody work and he accidentally called them adorable, and he regretted it because you shouldn't flirt with somebody who's working. And obviously, he doesn't name the person in this TikTok, but some people were wondering, who is this about?
I accidentally called this man adorable, and I nearly bit off my tongue. Because I've been crushing on this guy for clearly too fucking long, and I used to be an attractive woman, alright? Flirting with men, not hard. And here I am, standing right in front of him, channeling See You Again by Hannah fucking Montana, looking everywhere but at him because he's working and I wear my heart on my fucking face. And I think I'm doing okay. I'm not flirting. I'm trying real hard. Because you don't flirt with people when they're working. They can't comfortably tell you to fuck off. That's not okay. He could have. I would have let him, but he doesn't know that. And he makes one tiny little silly mistake, hits the wrong button, it's fine. And he says something along the lines of, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm stupid. And what comes out?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you saying? What is going on?
Out of my fucking mouth? You're adorable. It's fine. Somebody put me down. Because listen, I can make a fool of myself. I can embarrass myself, no problem. I make videos on the internet for a living. It's fine, no one cares.
Do you?
But if I had made this man
I thought you were a renowned artist for a living. I'm sorry, let me stop. This has been going on for hours. How long is this going on? Have you already cleaned your room? Did you already paint? You made a pot, didn't you? I don't know why I said a pot. I was thinking pottery. Then I said you made a pot. A steel pot. I'm losing it. I'm really losing it. We've been going for 3 hours now. I don't know how long this final video is going to be, but I've been going for 3 hours.
Comfortable? I'm jumping. All right, I'm done. Take me out. That's it. And this happened like a week ago. I've been thinking about this for days. Who allowed this? I am 26 years old. Why is having a crush right now so embarrassing? Never in my life have I been so verbally lost in front of a guy. Clearly there is no coming back from this. I'll be thinking about this forever, probably. I would say pray for me, but I think we all know I'm a lost cause at this point. Okay, love you, bye.
This man looked at me like he wanted me to look at him, and oh no.
So yeah, obviously, a lot of people instantly saw this in February 2026 and were thinking to themselves, I don't even need to say who was he talking about. I think it was very clear that this person had finally begun to express the reality behind everything. Because we've been wondering, why would somebody keep on doing this? Even if they truly do believe the things that they're saying, they're just getting lambasted on social media every single day. What's the benefit? Just hold your beliefs and leave and do something else. Is it because they want to join Lovejoy? Well, we've seen them claim that actually they believe that they won't join Lovejoy. So, well, the real reason that this person is clearly doing all of this is because, I've said it briefly before, they have a crush on Wilbur Soot. And yeah, that was only confirmed later on in February 2026 when they admit to having a crush on Wilbur, and that crush has lasted since 2019.
I have had a crush on Will Gold since 2019 when I heard him laugh in the background of someone else's video, and it felt like life itself leaned in to listen. Which is really...
This is objectively a lie. He says it this way because he wants you to believe that he fell in love with Wilbur's internal energy, his laugh, his just sweet, kind soul. No, you saw pictures of the other Minecraft SMP people, and then you saw Wilbur, and you said, who's it going to be? Wilbur or George? Wilbur or George? Wilbur or George? It's going to be Wilbur forever. That's what you did. Okay, that's what you did. You're horny posting on Maine. Let's just be honest, you know? I do not believe that Tyler fell in love with Wilbur's laugh behind a screen. That's like something that like men say in movies about meeting their wife at the library. Well, I guess not the library. What the f*** you doing laughing in the library, bitch? Cafe? With a book? I need to stop making myself laugh. Because I just wish when I said dumb shit was cleaner. I really do. It's always followed up with me laughing.
I heard him
has lasted since 2019.
I have had a crush on Will Gold since 2019 when I heard him laugh in the background of someone else's video, and it felt like life itself leaned in to listen. Which is really inconvenient for me because I am very much a one soul at a time kind of person, so once I develop a crush, virtually no one else stands a chance ever. And at the time, I had just broken off a terrible engagement to a guy who didn't even f***ing like me.
And since then, I have only briefly dated one other person who was wonderful, but it didn't work out. And so in all of that time, regardless of how many people have tried and been interested in me, I have not been able to find the interest for any single one of them. Because I have a f***ing crush on a guy I have interacted with once. And I don't even officially know his sexuality.
I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but I think this is a really weird thing to say. I think it is very weird to start even just briefly speaking about the sexuality of a person who you have a crush on. Having a crush on a celebrity is a pretty normal thing. Like, I think a lot of us have had, minor crushes here and now, fancied somebody because you thought, they're attractive on TV or something like that. But I feel like instantaneously, this is something very different to just a simple crush. He's basically said here that he could not get crushes on other people in his real life because he had now developed this crush for Wilbur Soot, and that has lasted now for 7 years. That is genuinely concerning, and the way he speaks about it and how he seemingly can't develop new relationships because of it is absolutely wild, but it does answer a lot of questions that I had. Why?
Oh, dude, you can go years. Also, somebody said asexual gang, demisexual shout out. That's right, baby. Look, the reality of the situation is if you are an asexual, demisexual, neurodivergent woman, yeah, I'm using all the words. They mean something here, though. You're following me. You know what your kryptonite is? A mediocre man randomly hitting on you when you least expect it. The true vice of all ADHD women, especially those that are predominantly demisexual, is just going about your day and randomly getting a dopamine hit from someone commenting that you're attractive or hitting on you or something. And then what happens after that? The mediocre man rises from the ground and you witness him up above in all of his shining glory. Thank you, sir. My brain needed this. I needed this. More. I will no longer be laughing at my own jokes. As of 6:37, as of 6:37 p.m., Monday, May 11th. Sometimes you have to let it out so you can let a new era in. As of 6:38, Monday 11th of May, I will no longer be laughing at my own jokes. It will be up to you to decide. It'll be up to you to decide if I've said something funny. My laugh will no longer be your guide. My laugh nor my smiles. This is what happens when somebody has to watch a Tyler Catastrophe video for 3 hours. As of 6:39. Are you going and say no? I'm having such a great time. I thought this is no stream next week. No stream next week because of Emo Dolphin. That's not true, Emo Dolphin. I wasn't gonna stream next Monday. See, I can't, dude. I cannot hold it for more than 10 minutes. But that probably wasn't. Was that funny for Emo Dolphin? I need to reassess my court jester tactics. Editor, I'm so sorry. I've had a really fun stream though.
Is of it concerning, and the way he speaks about it and how he seemingly can't develop new relationships because of it is absolutely wild, but it does answer a lot of questions that I had. Why is he willing to risk everything in order to victim blame Shelby? Well, it's because he has a crush, a really, really weird and obsessive crush.
That's a whole other thing. And I have tried so hard to move on from this, to let it go, because I want so badly for it not to cross over into parasocial territory.
It crossed over into parasocial territory a very long, like centuries ago, millennia ago.
Oh, and would you look at that? And Jewel Res is still here for like 2 hours, so it must have been a funny stream. See, nobody sits here watching old people for 2 hours unless you're like on a bridge in a park or something like that. So I'm glad that you found a way to like it here.
Crash the
territory, to move on from this, to let it go, because I want so badly for it not to cross over into parasocial territory.
It crashed over into parasocial territory a very long, like centuries ago, millennia ago. It crossed over into that territory. This is no longer a parasocial relationship. This is a parasocial dictatorship. You are obsessed with this individual. You have done everything you can to slander another.
We're gonna have to redo the intro, guys.
Spreading out lies about other false accusations, and you've dedicated your entire profile to this man for an incredibly long period of time, from when you were around 21 years old and you're now 27. Do you not realize this is not a minor parasocial thing? This is as parasocial as it gets.
But in like this,
oh, truly, this is maximum parasocial.
7 minutes that we spoke to each other. 1, every time we made eye contact, I thought my heart was gonna burst out of my chest and fly away. 2, I was so nervous that my head just shut off and my mouth had a mind of its own. And anyone who knows me and has ever met me knows that I don't get nervous about people. What the hell was that? 3, he somehow managed to make me want to write music again, something I have not done since my last band broke up in 2019 and I got hit by a car and couldn't sing anymore.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Years, but I got it back because I'm amazing. But how dare you pull my spark back out from underneath the ashes I spent years burying it under because it hurt too much to think about in like 2 sentences.
My spark! It hurts! How dare you?
It's rude. And 4, he failed to take a selfie with me because he was operating on like iPhone settings and I had an Android and I accidentally called him adorable and immediately wanted to swallow my f***ing tongue. Because you don't flirt with people when they're working. That's rude. I paid to... I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. And my point is, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, this is really weird. And also, I feel like the reason Wilbur didn't take the photo wasn't because phones were messing up. Anyone knows how to use an Android or an iPhone. There's a camera app with a camera logo. You click, you press the button. I feel like the reason that he didn't take a selfie with this person is either Wilbur did not want to take a photo with this person, or this didn't even happen. Now, obviously, we're never going to know unless Wilbur gives his account of it. Realistically, I'm not actually that interested in knowing, but I think it's very clear that this person is obsessed to a disturbing extent. To have your heartbeat going at the rate he said it was over somebody he had just met, somebody he had never spoken to up until that point, is genuinely very, very weird, especially considering this person is 27 years old. I'm not saying you can't have crushes at 27 or fancy celebrities at 27, but if you're genuinely getting like heart palpitations at seeing a celebrity who you've never spoken to, that's as concerning as it can get. And it only continues from this point. He just continuously confirms to me why he has done everything that he has done, and it's because he is in a parasocial relationship with Wilbur.
Pills? And my point is, it's a whole thing that I would like to no longer have to deal with. And all of this is made worse because I have been recognized at every single concert I've been to in the past year and a half, including 2 of his. And I've been on the Lovejoy Nation podcast twice. So no matter how many times I try to sweep this out of the rug and move on with my life, there's always that little thing in the back of my head saying, there's a non-zero chance. Oh my god. So basically, the way I see it, I finally say, f*** it. I make this video, I say it all out loud to the ether that is the internet. Worst case scenario, he sees it, he says, hey, not for me. I move on with my life, it's fine. I'm an adult, who cares? I'll take a no over uncertainty any day of the week. Neutral option, nothing happens. Oh well, I guess. Best case scenario, you know? Because honestly, it doesn't matter what I'm doing any day ever for the rest of my life. If he was like, hey, do you want to get dinner or something? I'd say yes. Obviously, I'm delusional. It's fine. But at this point, I'm just so over the not doing anything about the things that I want. You know? What's up with that? No one gets anywhere that way. So, f*** it. I've said it out loud. What else is there to do at 9 p.m. on a... Is it Friday? I think it's Friday. Anyway... It is what it is, I guess. Okay, love you, bye.
I think the most concerning thing about all of this is what it really...
Him saying love you, bye at the end of every video. Don't say that. I don't say... I know, some of you are going to be like, but BOZE, I do that. Actually, maybe don't do this. But also, if you see somebody else do it and you detect some other poor traits, run. Remember, the thing that I'm going to tell you, it has to like join in with some other things that are unsavory as well, right? If you just met a person, like you do not really know each other, but they start saying to you over and over again, oh, I love you. Oh my God, I love you. I love you. I love you so much. And you'll especially notice this if they do it repeatedly in like the first meeting or second meeting. You can actually see them in real time have a moment where they're like, maybe they didn't hear me that I said it. I'll say it again. I'll say it again. they're not looking for a love you back. They're looking for a vulnerability or a weak point. And if you're somebody that has a lot of raw, authentic, or intense connections, when someone says "I love you" right away, you might think like, "Oh my God, these are my people." Like, yeah, I love you too. This feels good. This is awesome. We like each other. Babe, it's a red flag. Honestly, I don't think anybody, don't listen, bitch. Don't be that person that thinks of the exceptions right now. I bet you that we can agree at least 95% of the time, nobody that you meet for the first time that's like a prospective friend or even somebody you're dating should be saying, "I love you" the first time you meet. It is a red flag. And you guys that have met that person that started saying "I love you" and trying to connect fast from the jump, what became of your relationship with that person? Tell them. Tell the kids, tell everybody, show and tell time. Well, you don't have to go too deep into it. And then also, I know some of you guys will be typing for a minute. You don't type too much, but let them know. These people suck. They're terrible, right? They're terrible. They're so terrible. And I noticed they'll also do this thing where they're like, "I love you so much." And when you set a boundary by not saying it back, like 10 minutes later, not even 10 minutes later, like 5 minutes later, they'll be like, "I just love you." They're trying to get you to say it back. And then the third time that they say it, it is them trying to confirm to themselves, so you're not going to say it back. So you don't need this. You don't have this vulnerability, or I'm not going to be able to connect with you this easily, Watch for it. Because I've seen this now with multiple people, that same exact formula. Crazy. It's crazy. Deku said it came out that he was a burglar and had been addicted to meth, and then he belittled me for making more money than him. And that sounds exactly like a motherfucker we talking about the first week about, "Damn, I love you. You're great. I love you. I just love you." You shouldn't be saying that. You should not be saying that early. And some of you say it to people with good intentions, or you have a good heart. Don't say that. Why are you giving your love away so easily? Who taught you that your love is not valuable and you should just give it away easily? Because the thing is, when those people enter your life and they say, "I love you, I love you, I love you," they are not giving you their love. They are giving you hollow words. But when you say back, "I love you too," you're not giving hollow words. You are giving love. Who told you to give your love away that easily? Question for the culture. Thank you.
Is it Friday? I think it's Friday. Anyway. It is what it is, I guess. I can't love you, bye.
I think the most concerning thing about all of this is what it really indicates to me is this guy doesn't actually have real interest in Lovejoy. He only has interest in wanting to be with Wilbur. He wants to be that person's partner. He wants to engage in a relationship with that person. He doesn't know this person, and he is speaking about this person in this bizarre way. And some could say, well, other people do that with other celebrities, and yeah, I think it's weird. I think it is weird when there is a content creator and you are speaking about them in that way. You're not celebrating the content that they make, and even if you were, the only reason you're doing that, you have just shown us, is because you want to actually be with that person. Obviously, a crush is very different to what this person is saying. They have dedicated their life to this individual, put relationships on hold because they want to be with this person who they have met for 7 minutes at a show that they paid to go to with a VIP ticket. It's weird, and I'm sorry if that seems demeaning or derogatory, but it is weird. And if I had a fan or a stan who was like that, I would pull them aside on social media. I would not go anywhere near them in real life and say, "Hey, that is very, very concerning. Please detach yourself from me. I don't want this parasocial connection." And look, I'm not saying anyone's got a crush on me. I don't think that's physically possible. I'm doing the self-deprecation thing there. I'm sure someone does, maybe. But just don't make it parasocial, all right? Just don't do it. But no, jokes aside, obviously, this is just very, 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 very weird. And another thing a lot of people were pointing out in the comment section is, why does this person keep on referring to him as Will Gold?
Creepy.
And it's what I mentioned earlier of, I think they're desperate to kind of pretend that they actually know the individual. It's almost like they're trying to force it into reality, fake it until you make it. That's the vibe I get from this person. They're seemingly trying to act like they now know Wilbur because they paid for a VIP ticket. But it's like, no, anyone on planet Earth could have met Wilbur at that event. They just needed to pay the extra money to get a VIP ticket. You're not special. You're not unique in this situation. You are just a hyper-obsessed fan.
So I met Wilbur and Lovejoy tonight. Buys VIP ticket.
Crazy is after this, he got a lot of criticism for this. Obviously, a lot of people were calling him weird, creepy, and as you can imagine, he didn't retract his statements. He simply doubled down.
I do know there's a difference between embarrassing and morally wrong, right? They're not the same thing, because oh my god, it is so not that serious. Is it embarrassing?
embarrassing and morally wrong.
Embarrassing to publicly admit that you have a crush on someone? Yes. Is it also embarrassing to admit that the person you have a crush on has a larger following than you do? Yeah, sure. But having a crush and feeling emotions about a person you don't know is not inherently wrong. I'm not out here writing self-insert fanfiction or building a shrine to our love in my fucking closet.
I actually think it is.
He's just in denial about all the creepy things that he just tried to do to move to Brighton. This is another form of like, explain my bad behavior to me because it didn't happen.
It's kind of weird to have not a crush, as I said earlier. I think it's fine to have a crush, but I think it is weird to do it in the extent that this person is doing. Like, we know that this person is paying for VIP tickets to go to a show because he's hoping that they're going to establish some form of relations with that person. And look, I'm not stupid. I know a lot of people have done that with celebrities in the past and influencers in the past. They're hoping that maybe they'll be.
This is my interpretation of what I think that Tyler thought was going to happen that night. Wilbur, now that we're done with all the VIP people, look, he's over here. Let me take you to him. Should we ask tonight? I don't know. Ow. Act 2. I'm just kidding. Dude, that's all I got. I don't know why I pictured something flowy. I had to get something flowy to describe that. Wilbur, he's over here. I don't have, oh God, dude, the hair looks like shit. Whatever. It's my life now.
And look, I'm not stupid. I know a lot of people have done that with celebrities in the past and influencers in the past. They're hoping that maybe there'll be a chance. But I definitely think it is concerning.
I hope he brought some of those necklaces. Come on, Wilbur. I'm done. I'm completely done. We're almost done with the stream.
Celebrities and they're going to establish some form of relations with that person. And look, I'm not stupid. I know a lot of people have done that with celebrities in the past and influencers in the past. They're hoping that maybe there'll be a chance. But I definitely think it is concerning that there are people out there that have just dedicated their entire lives to people to do it. You know, that's what this person is doing. As I said, and as they said, they've put off relationships because of their obsession and crush. At what point, as I said, is that not a crush and just an outright?
Sirbeth said, isn't that how Hailey Bieber got her man? I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it again. It was very close. You were very close to getting a wave and a Haley over here. I don't even know what it would have been. I'm tired. I'm getting tired. Act 2. You just 6:39. Remember 6:39. 511-639.
Because of their obsession and crush. At what point, as I said, is that not a crush and just an outright obsession?
I said that I had a crush on a guy who I do not know, and that we met one time, made eye contact, and it gave me butterflies. I said it in a way that wasn't strictly literal because I'm an artist and a poet, and I like to say the pretty words. And y'all are out here acting like I trained an AI chatbot to talk like him. And for the record, we are strictly against AI.
Wait.
Just
Considering Tyler's history of saying out loud exactly what he's doing, I fully believe that you have a Wilbur bot. 1000%. Because I would actually argue, I would argue that Tyler is acting much like these people that are in the AI psychosis. Right? Like the Starseed girl. And like they have this insane confidence around the object of their desire that is very strange. He's got a Wilbur chatbot. He has a Wilbur chatbot, and they are together. But you know what? A horror story, horror movie, screenplay. Tyler falls in love with Wilbur Soot chatbot, but horror movie. Actually eventually meets the person. Well, I was gonna say, what if there's a world where this person had like an AI chatbot and then they actually date the person because they want to manifest their internal dreams in real world, right? But then they realize that they like the AI chatbot. Somebody make it a short. It's a Black Mirror episode. Make it a short.
so you know. But are y'all really so online that you forgot that being human is allowed? Yes, he's successful, and there are other people who want him, and he has a larger following than me, and I've had a crush on him for more than a couple years.
He literally talks like the people that are in AI dating psychosis.
He is just a guy. And yes, having a crush on him makes it hard for me to have a crush on literally anyone else, because he is proof that all the qualities I want in a partner exist as one coherent person.
Now, to claim that this person has all the qualities in life that you see or want in a partner is genuinely crazy, because you don't know this person. You've met them for 7 minutes. You cannot understand the entire qualities of a human being that you've just seen on the internet via social media content. You watching this right now, the viewer, you do not know me personally. You do not know every single quality or negative thing about me. You only know me for what I want you to know. I put my social media posts up. I post 9,000 photos a day of my dog on my Instagram story. I never follow me if you really want to. And yeah, that's what people know me for. But if you said to me, oh, I know you for every single quality that I see in a man or want in a man, I'd say you're crazy, because you don't know me. You've not experienced my life or been with me or as a friend throughout the days of the week. We've not hung out. So how would you know about me?
If somebody came up to me and they were like, you have every single quality that I want in a woman, I'd be like, probably not. I mean, if I got the whole inventory, I'm sure we got some additional items that you don't want that I don't really know how to get rid of. So we could get married. I don't know if it's gonna be what you were expecting. I don't think I have all the traits.
You only know about Wilbur, Tyler, because of his social media posts, which are the best possible versions of himself that he wants you to see. I think it's very, very weird that this person has admitted again that they've put off relationships and crushes on other people because they think that they know this person because of what they've posted on the internet. That is genuinely insane.
And why the f would I want to settle for someone who doesn't have those qualities when I know that those qualities exist? But I'm not out here saying that he's the only person who's allowed to date me. He's the only one who's allowed to try, and if I just wait long enough, he'll fall in love. No. If he asked me out, I would say yes. That is all I said. Having a crush might be embarrassing, but it is not weird, it is not wrong, it is not stripping someone of their rights. It is looking at a person and saying, hey, I really like that person. It would be cool if they liked me too. And that is all it is. It's fine. This is disgustingly parasocial. Do you know what parasocial means? Do you? Because having a crush on someone is not inherently parasocial. Convincing myself that he also has a crush on me and that he wants to marry me, that would be parasocial. Because
not would be, is...
I don't know the guy.
Yes, and that's why this is parasocial. You don't know the guy, and you've said to us that you've put off relationships. That is the very definition of what parasocial is.
If Tyler ever oversteps any boundaries, he's in a difficult position, because if he committed a crime, Wilbur's gonna get access to all of those chat logs. Like, I don't know how to tell you guys this. If I was being stalked by somebody and they committed a crime, and you could look at their phone and see them dating a BOZE bot for a year, saying a bunch of really creepy stuff, I will be admitting the whole chat into evidence. You know, like, he can't do nothing wrong, or that's going everywhere.
What you have done. You have told us that you know about all of the qualities of this person, and that is why you cannot date any other person, because they do not have the qualities that Wilbur has. That you know Wilbur, apparently, because you seem to think that you know all of their qualities. That is emotional investment in a human being that you do not know. The very definition of parasocial. But as you're going to see, this person refuses to admit that.
Convincing myself that he also has a crush on me and that he...
No. Emo Dolphin said, what is 511639? Don't nobody tell Emo Dolphin, because Emo, you were in here like 45 minutes ago and we talked. We had a conversation. We talked. So this tells me that you paused the stream and then you came back asking questions.
Asking all them questions. Asking all them questions. Why you asking all them questions?
I can't believe you paused. I'm with you. But look, I noticed. I see everything. You ain't getting past these big eyes. Nobody's getting past these big eyes. I think it's been a minute since I've been like losing myself on the stream before, but it's been fun. This has been fun.
He wants to marry me. That would be parasocial. Because I don't know the guy. And that's not what I said. But the thing that really gets me is that everything I said in that video, I have said several times in other videos. I just didn't put a name to it. And the second I put a name to it, y'all start acting like I'm an obsessed stalker who knows everything about him and is following him around the town.
Oh my god. I just have to keep reminding myself that so much of the internet is teenagers who don't know anything of the outside world other than like their school, their house, and their little sphere of the internet. And like, I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. We've all been there. But oh my god, y'all are frustrating.
Again, bringing up the idea that teenagers can't understand anything. Hey, I actually think teenagers can understand that what you're doing is incredibly weird. And if I was 15 years old and saw you on social media, I'd probably comment, hey man, you're a little bit odd, you're a little bit weird. And hey, as a 28-year-old man, 29. As a 29-year-old man. 639. As a 29-year-old man, I can say that you are an odd fella. You're genuinely concerning and weird, and I think you need to detach yourself from social media. Please just realize this is not appropriate. What you are doing here is genuinely odd, and I think if Wilbur saw it, even he would think to himself, hey, I think this is a little bit uncomfortable. So bringing up teenagers and children as a way to once again push off criticism is hilarious, because you have a grown-ass man right now saying to you, buddy, this is weird. This is odd behavior, and you are in a parasocial relationship right now.
Just scroll.
I think this is gonna be my favorite videos on the channel. This is truly a hangout session. I'm just gonna let it. I'm gonna let it keep. It's almost over.
And just before I end this video, I would like the record to show that not only do I have...
you know why? Because you know what? It feels like I'm not working right now because iNabber is presenting the video. iNabber is like, covering all the bases. We're not even doing a true crime stream today. This is feeling almost criminal. But I didn't put together a sheet. We don't have like a whole itinerary. So I think I'm just chilling today. Like I feel like I'm off work. That's the vibe. Okay.
And you are a grown-ass man right now, as a way to once again push off criticism is hilarious.
With substitute teacher vibes,
right now saying to you, buddy, this is weird. This is odd behavior, and you are in a parasocial relationship right now.
Just scroll. Just move on with your lives. And just before I end this video, I would like the record to show that not only do I have more followers now than he did when I first found his content, but also I know who I am. And I know I can pull. And thinking to myself, hey, I bet if this guy knew me, he'd probably like me back. If there's a chance. Is also not parasocial.
It's delusional.
It's just thinking.
Oh.
I am going to eat this lamp. Y'all. Stop it! Oh my god. I will be 27 in a month, and I pay my own bills, and I live in my own apartment, and at least a third of my job is making videos on the internet and embarrassing.
I thought it was your full-time job. You said it was your full-time job a couple of videos ago, and now you've changed your mind. Which one is it? Pick now.
Myself for fun. I know the difference between right or wrong, and I know where to stop before the bit becomes weird. Okay, love you, bye.
Now, I love that he at the end there says that he knows when to stop the bit when it's weird, but you've told us multiple times now that you've not pursued relationships and crushes because you seem to think that you know an individual that you've met for 7 minutes because you bought a VIP ticket. I really actually want to know what he means by getting too weird, because I'm genuinely concerned about what that could actually entail. And again, this TikTok just really pushed Tyler into pretty much everyone's algorithm. Like, I'd seen this TikTok before I even started making this video, and I was wondering, who is this person? And without any of the context, I thought to myself, yeah, I want to steer clear from this person. Now, maybe they've actually seen my videos because they mention Onision, and if they're a detractor on Onision now, maybe they watched a bunch of Onision videos, and I was very much a part of that back in the day, and I'm actually working on another Onision video right now, so maybe they've seen me. And
Sansi the Goat said, if BOZE was a sub teacher, I feel like she would be the type to chill with the kids having phones, and she would put on a movie for the kids. Yeah, you can have your phones, but the movie's Amistad, and then afterwards the Passion of the Christ, and there will be a question afterwards. Quiz. Not just one question, multiple questions. A lot of them.
Maybe they are watching this video, and I will say, buddy, you need to stop doing this.
I was laughing because I saw you guys laughing.
A detractor on Onision now, maybe they watched a bunch of Onision videos, and I was very much a part of that back in the day, and I'm actually working on another Onision video right now, so maybe they've seen me, and maybe they are watching this video, and I will say, buddy, you need to stop doing this. Like, it is weird, it is wrong. I know I keep on repeating myself. We will move on from this in a second, but I think it's fair to say it's not just children that find this creepy. It's basically everybody. There's a reason that there's a video out there right now with 1 million views about a Wilbur Soot stan in 2026. But what's interesting is only recently Tyler has actually made the claim that actually...
Also... I want to explain this one more time. I return to man unfolding. I'm reading you this line one more time. think about all of the Wilbur fans and all the Dream fans and anybody that's actually a parasocial fan of like any creator. Tyler is the metric of it has gone too far, and it's up to society to label those things as such. I'm reading you the quote again. Seeing ourselves in historical and dynamic perspective might serve as a basis for a common understanding that could reduce the destructive tendency of man towards man and of man towards himself. Tyler has done us a great service. I bet you there's a lot of fans that are going to dial back just a little bit because in their head they're going to be like, I don't want to be a Tyler Catastrophe. Also crazy that he named himself Catastrophe.
A lot of the things that he has what's out there right now with 1 million views about a Wilbur Soot stan in 2026. But what's interesting is only recently Tyler has actually made the claim that actually a lot of the things that he has said in regards to Wilbur has just been exaggerated for content purposes.
Been following me for a while, chances are you actually know who I am and you don't need to hear this. But for the new people, I have posted thousands of videos over the past, 7 years? About myself, about my work, about the things that I believe in. And sometimes that means saying that other people disagree with. And right now, Twitter wants you absolutely obsessed with misinterpreting less than 10 of them. And the thing about trying to tell people who someone is that doesn't really hold up when that person has been showing you who they are for 7 years. And all of those people who want to see you frothing at the mouth, sending hate comments and death threats,
It's crazy I can hear the flat notes through the dialogue. 7 years. I can hear it.
And they certainly haven't seen enough of me to know. I put beads on a string for a living and I talk to my phone, and I have never been anything but kind, respectful, and compassionate.
I mean, you openly lied about Shelby spreading false allegations about another previous partner, so no, you haven't been compassionate, and in fact, you've been victim blaming your entire career based around defending this guy that you've got a crush on and obsess over. So no, excuse me if I don't believe your claim of being a compassionate and lovely human being.
A little bit sassy now and then, but who isn't? Look at any of my other videos, look at how I interact with people in the comments, because if there's one thing staying completely consistent, it's that I'm not horrible. You can disagree with me, you can not like me, you can believe whatever you want to believe about me, but I will not believe it for you. I stand by what I said because I know I'm coming from a place of integrity and experience.
Can I just say, another random rant? Does anyone else feel like they're an inconsistent person? And they strive for consistency because they see consistency as normalcy? Something I'm dealing with lately is like, I've recently just come to terms with the fact that like, I'm a pretty inconsistent person. I mean, even if you watch my videos or like, well, I feel like I'm good about things with my stream. Like sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm not, but like, I have some structures in place, right? One thing I'm like letting go of this year that's really nice is my yearning to be a consistent person. I'm getting rid of that need to compare myself to more like typical attributes in society that I'm 34 now and I still can't do some of those things. And like, that's okay because there's other stuff that I can do. But I don't know if anyone else has ever been like struggling with that a little bit, like comparing yourself to wanting to be another way. It's a little mini journey I'm on, but like, yeah, I just like accept that I'm inconsistent, but I think I'm responsible and I do what I say I'm gonna do, right? Chat, if I say there's gonna be a bonus stream, there's a bonus stream. If I say it's Snark Week and we're doing 5 videos, we get 5 right? You know what I mean? Here's my advice. If you feel like you're kind of an inconsistent person because of your wiring or like whatever it may be responsible and do what you said you was gonna do and put a couple structures in place. That's my best advice because I don't know, it's worked for me now at this point. And it makes me feel a lot less bad about myself. So if anybody's struggling with that, just a little, I haven't fully figured it out, but I've been working on it for a few weeks. So I thought I would tell you that so far because I think it's useful. Someone said you are consistent in the inconsistency. It's kind of true, but like you think about it this way, I am inconsistent. I am, but I generally show up when I say I'm going to, and I do what I'm going to do, and I'm pretty responsible about it. So your brain rewires to like, she'll show up eventually. She'll be here, and it'll be good. And like, that I need that because I'm always going to be this way. But I'm less mad at myself about it these days, which is nice. Okay, we're almost done.
For you. I stand by what I said because I know I'm coming from a place of integrity and experience. The only person I'm obsessed with is me because I'm amazing. And sitting here expecting me to bend, to pretend to be someone I'm not just so that you can justify the way you're treating me, is simply not how I do things. So whether you're here about a video about a crush that I exaggerated for entertainment purposes, or from a 2-year-old video where I encourage people to think for themselves and consider that there's a lot of information they don't know.
So yeah, he claims that he exaggerated things for entertainment purposes, and also he goes on to the thing about Shelby there. And honestly, I think this is absolutely hilarious. And I think that it is very clear that at this point of time, things were starting to get to Tyler. It's clear that he very much was getting frustrated, that he was getting a barrage of criticism, mainly due to the fact that he had been saying a lot of horrible things about Shelby, and his continuous defense of Wilbur was also revealing that yes, this all comes from the fact that he has a crush on this individual. It is very interesting that out of everyone else, out of all the other influencers in the world that he doesn't have a crush on, he seems to, as we saw with Emilio Martinez, be against them. But when it comes to the person that he has a crush on, he is going to go all out to make a defense. And it all does culminate in this TikTok right here, where once again, he addresses the fact that yes, he has a crush on Wilbur, whilst also responding to criticism. And at the time of recording this video of, April the 15th, 2026, it seems that he
his birthday
hasn't
bring it back around. Bring it around.
Of course, he will eventually do that. He'll eventually post more. But this is basically meant to be the ending of this story. There are plenty of other things that I could get into, but I think we should kind of wrap it up and come to an ending with this person talking about their crush once again.
Okay.
Because it's the primary reason that he has done everything that we've gone through today.
That was so fun. Thank you for the fun, I never.
I said I have a crush on a guy in a band who I do not know and have met once. And because I was not strictly literal in a video that was for entertainment, I have somehow become the target of a weeks-long ridiculous smear campaign that, frankly, I don't want to understand.
Smear
and while
campaign?
part of me knows that it's probably smart to just...
Smear campaign? I don't know if it's a smear campaign.
Hope it dies out.
I think it's a documentation of your history.
I'm gonna say some shit. I am not the one stalking comment sections hoping to see someone I do not know. You are. I am not the one making fake accounts to stalk someone I do not know. You are. I am not the one making money off of lying and talking about someone I do not know. You are.
I mean, you literally are. You've bragged in this video about making money from TikToks before, and you would have made videos talking about Shelby in the way that you did. We've seen that you've spread lies and misinformation. So, sorry, but actually you have engaged in that activity that you're accusing other individuals of.
Bored and views were low. The world was my oyster. Anyway. But I mentioned that video paid my electric bill. Generally the most money I've ever made from a TikTok.
And it is hilarious because the rest of this TikTok is just basically...
What did you say? Hold on.
You've spread lies and misinformation. So, sorry, but actually you have engaged in that activity that you're accusing other individuals of.
Bored and views were low. The world was my oyster. Anyway. But I mentioned that video paid my electric bill. Generally the most money I've ever made from a TikTok.
And it is hilarious because the rest of this TikTok is just basically him crying and whining and saying everything that's being said about him is a smear campaign. But it's like, no, everything being said about you comes from your own TikToks. That's what I find very confusing when influencers say this sort of stuff in their responses. It's like, bro, we're just reacting to your words. 90% of this video that I'm doing right now has been me playing your TikToks in full and then reacting to it.
You are.
Yo, also, can I just say, I didn't know that you have to manually like take out money from TikTok or sign up for anything. I had no idea. Did you? I don't think I've ever made any money off of TikTok because I didn't know that you had to take money out. So TikTok just kept the money. When I'm posting on TikTok, I am posting on TikTok to bother you, strictly to bother you. That's all.
And I am most certainly not the one using AI to try and convince people on the internet that someone I have never interacted with is a... That's 100% on you. I said that I thought a guy was hot and funny and interesting in a video where I was not strictly literal.
If somebody is doing that to the creator that you like and you don't think it's true, why would you amplify it? Like, I'm sorry. If you guys loved a creator and you thought that something about them wasn't true, that was very quietly being spread around but not everywhere, why would you amplify that?
And then I said that because I am confident and like myself, that maybe he would like me if he gave me a chance, if he was interested in men. Because again, I don't know his sexuality. I do not care where he lives. I do not care who he's seeing. I do not care what he does for fun in his free time because it has no effect on my life. I have a physical type. He happens to be that type. I have very high standards. I do not want someone who does not meet that standard.
Oh.
That is all I said. And right now, the only reason most of my videos are still up is because I do not want to give people more room to lie. Clearly, all of those videos have missed such
I don't know what it is. If it's just like the internet and like positivity and whatnot that is just making everybody think like, this is my standard. This is what I want appearance-wise. I will not settle for less than this. Listen, guys, breaking news. I've been ugly dudes for 10 years, okay? Like, it just... sometimes you get what you get. All right. We're not all entitled to the Brad Pitts or the whatever. I don't even know. That's the first thing that came to mind. I don't know who people think is hot. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But like I show my friends like a picture of a dude that like I like here he is. I cannot express to you enough the look of horror on my friend's face when I showed her the last guy that I was talking to. I thought he was hot. I thought he was like, dude, somebody needs to show Tyler my roster, and Tyler might be like, damn, yeah, maybe I should reevaluate some stuff over here. You know, like.
It's because I do not want to give people more room to lie. Clearly, all of those videos have missed such a large mark. I don't know how we got here. I don't want to know. But at this point, I have spent my entire life overcoming things that most people would never even have to imagine. And I spent a ridiculously long time being just the scapegoat for everyone around me. So I know that there are people who have no interest in the truth, no matter how big it is. And I know that there are people who will post anything that gets views. Consequences be damned. I actually left the creator program months ago because I didn't like the incentive it gave to like trigger people and start rage bait, and it's stupid. I don't like it. So really the only thing I have to say to the people who are using my name to get views and make money in a way that is not true and is very deceptive, I hope you plan to donate every single cent that you have made off of misrepresenting my character and using my name for views.
Nope. Somebody in chat said, Nishit said, are you sure you're not specifically into ugly men? Somebody's got to do it, okay? Somebody's got to do it.